You're looking live at Winnipeg, where the CFL's Eastern Final has the makings of a classic showdown. Hamilton fans are some of the best in the CFL. Today, they're in Winnipeg to support a couple of veterans of the CFL wars, Ron Lancaster and his quarterback, Danny McManus. Danny Mac in search of a fourth Grey Cup. Fans in Winnipeg have waited years for this day, the time when Dave Ritchie and the Bombers gained their long overdue respect. The big question is, can Kahari Jones lead the 14-4 team to the ultimate goal? The road to the Grey Cup stops in Winnipeg. Eastern Final has been a sellout for the past couple of weeks. Winnipeg fans enjoyed the 12 straight wins in the 14-4 season, but this is the one they want more than anything else. Blue Bomber football is once again the #1 topic of conversation. This place will rock this afternoon. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Armitage and welcome to the first half of our CFL final doubleheader, the Bombers and the Ticats. Well, these two teams have met 4 times in previous Eastern Finals. The Bombers have a 2-1 edge, but they are 3-4 against the Ticats in the course of the regular season. The Bombers lost their last 2 games of the regular season after winning 12 straight. They've had 2 weeks off. The question is, will the rest hurt or hinder? On the other side of the coin, the Hamilton Ticats played 4 games in 15 days, and that included a very impressive win over Montreal in the Eastern semi-final. Well, Hamilton is 2-1 against Winnipeg in the past 72 hours. What's that you say? Well, the American Hockey League franchise from Hamilton beat the Manitoba Moose twice, but the University of Manitoba Bisons beat Hamilton's McMaster in yesterday's Churchill Bowl, and they'll go to the Vanier Cup against the St. Mary's Huskies. Now, up to the booth and join Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby. Gentlemen.
Well, Steve, no question this is the most eagerly anticipated game in Winnipeg since Chris Walby stopped bearing his arms in anger.
Baby.
Everybody thinks it's going to be close, and we've broken it down, and it might come down to a special play.
Well, absolutely. We talked about offense, we talked about defense, but it's special teams. You know, sometimes you win this battle, and you win the big football game, and that's where we are at today. And we got some electrifying players on both sides of the football. Right here, Archie Amerson last week, 93 yards for a touchdown to put Hamilton on the board against Montreal. What a great player this guy is. And I tell you what, Chris, they've got an exciting player on the other side of the ball as well.
Well, Ron Lancaster said they waited 19 weeks for one in Hamilton. They didn't have to wait that long. Punt blocks could be key as well.
Well, I tell you what, the big 3 for Hamilton, they've got a bunch of guys that can get after the ball. I mean, we got Montfort, you got Ivory, you got Vaughn, you got Hitchcock. They all take turns doing it. 13 block kicks this year. We got 6 from Hamilton.
On the other side, Charles Roberts, maybe the most dangerous guy on the field today.
Well, they want to give him the ball anywhere. Obviously, he was used special teams primarily in the beginning of the year. Today, he'll also get it out of the backfield. But this guy, his magic number is 58. Why 58? Because he's got 2 punt returns for touchdowns, both 58 yards.
So will it be a Roberts return or perhaps a punt block or a kick block by the Hamilton Tiger Cats? It could be either one that tips the scales today, but let's talk about your keys.
Well, I tell you what, there's some big keys right now for Hamilton on offense. I mean, obviously you want to utilize all your weapons. You want to get the ball to Corey Grant. You want to get to Greg. You want to open up the field for guys like Flutie in the middle, Morreale. On defense, it's simple. Shut down Stiegel. He's the guy that's killing you. Get him out of the ball game. For Winnipeg, I mean, on offense, you got to shake off the rust. You haven't played a meaningful game in over a month. You've had a week off. Get out there, get some rhythm. And on defense, hey, make McManus move. Don't let him sit in the pocket because he's going to pick you apart.
The rest of the stadium just as excited as Chris Walby. We can't wait for it to start. Here's Steve.
Thank you, Chris. When you consider the date, November 18th, weather conditions for this Eastern Final are absolutely superb. And the fact that we're kicking off at noon Winnipeg time won't hurt. And yes, the gusting wind could be a factor in the 3rd or 4th quarter. Coming up at halftime, Brian Williams will reconvene our playoff panel with Pinball Clemens and Danny Barrett. That's at halftime. The wind is blowing. We're ready for the kickoff. Chris, are you guys ready?
Absolutely, Steve. Top two teams during the regular season. Ron Lancaster, 12-8 in the postseason in his 9th final in 11 years. Will match wits once again today with Dave Ritchie on the other side. And we are underway with the 2001 Eastern Final, and there's Archie Emerson tossed down by Wayne Weathers just inside the 35-yard line. For the outstanding player in 1999 in the Canadian Football League, Danny McManus will lead his charges out. He is 8-3 in postseason play.
Well, you gotta like the way he comes out here. Mr. Calm, he's very much compared to the guy he's going against, Kahari Jones. They've talked a lot. They've talked all week about this football game. They got a lot of respect for each other, but Danny Mac, he's the one you want to look up to.
Hamilton won the toss. They deferred and will have the win in the fourth quarter. They have the win here in the opening quarter. And Troy Davis with the first carry of the game, hauled down by Brian Clark near the 39-yard line. A gain of close to 5.
Well, they're going to run the football. You know that. McManus is there. Troy Davis, who just carried the football. The fullback, Dwayne Ford, coming out of that backfield. They got a good receiving core. Grant, Morreale, Darren Flutie, the Magic Man, Andrew Grigg, who's done the most damage against this Winnipeg team. And of course, the big Hamilton offensive line, Carl Coulter, Lambert, Mahalik, Dittman, and Hack at the tackles.
2nd and 5, McManus out of the shotgun. They dump it off in the flat. That's Davis, and he stretches out across the 45 for a first down.
Well, they're going to get him involved as much as possible, not only just carrying the rock, but throwing it out of the backfield. They feel they can get mismatches with him, get him in the open field. He's a guy that is really becoming exciting, and the more he plays, the better he gets. As we take a look at the Bomber defense, Brechterfield, Fortney, Brown, and Weathers at the defensive end on the big defensive line, the linebackers, Antonio Armstrong, McGriggs, and Clark. And of course, the defensive backs, Europe, Nash, Bolden, Capers, and Coleman.
McManus throwing out in the flat. There's Corey Grant, who's come on in the second half of the year. And a completion close to a first down as Hamilton works against a defense that led in 13 of 25 CFL defensive categories.
Well, it's just a matter, and this is what the veteran, the Cajun, McManus is going to give you. He's only going to take exactly what the defense gives you. He's not going to try and force any situations. He says, you know what, Chris, he said yesterday, what the Winnipeg defense will try to do is force you to throw into situations that they can capitalize on.
Nice down here for McManus, 2nd and 1. They hand it to Davis in a big hole right up the middle. And the Ticats moving inside the 50-yard line of the Bombers. And with the win today as it is, Chris, you start to wonder if Hamilton's going to be hurt by a lack of running game this year, but a couple of good runs by Davis early.
Well, the biggest thing, as we talked about, Davis gets stronger the more time he carries the football. But the biggest thing is whether he gets 2 yards or 10 yards, they're going to keep giving him the ball because you got to make Winnipeg's defense play honest.
Another first down for the Tiger Cats. McManus with time with the receiver, and Mike Morreale has a first down catch at the Winnipeg 35. Morreale took a lot of heat in the last regular season game against the Blue Bombers when he let one go through his hands in the end zone. It turned out to be an interception that sealed a Winnipeg win.
Absolutely should have had that catch, but they also said, and Danny Mac said yesterday, he says, I want to get the ball to Morreale early. I want him to get hit because it'll wake him up, and good things can happen if we can wake Mike Morreale up.
13 yards, an impressive opening march for Hamilton down to the Winnipeg 35. Out of the gun, McManus, another quick hitter, nearly picked, but flag goes down as Byron Capers jarred Emerson before the ball arrived.
Absolutely, Emerson coming out. We know that that's the guy they like to go. He's the game breaker. Comes down, gets one-on-one coverage with Capers, just cuts inside, and Capers, a little overzealous playing the football.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg 23. First down.
And looked like he almost got away with it, but then a late flag was thrown. Nice job of protection. Just going to sit back there. Danny Mac going to throw over to the linebacker, and as you see right there, 23 bumped the intended receiver. Archie knocking him down to the ground, and a flag is thrown.
An impressive 6-play drive so far has taking the ball to the Winnipeg 15. McManus, an early hot hand, has more time, has a receiver, touchdown. Darren Flutie, who dropped an easy touchdown pass last week, makes a great catch here to give Hamilton the early lead.
Well, unbelievable. They just marched it down, very methodical, very workmanlike. They take exactly what's open. He's just going to go and play in the middle, find the opening. Look, he just goes, finds it right behind the linebacker. See, Lamar McGrig's right there. He's got to get back farther. But Flutie, of course, does a nice job of just getting behind him, finding the opening. And the thing he does so well, Chris, is he adjusts his body to the flight of the football and comes up with another spectacular catch.
Osbaldiston adds the extra point, something I didn't think we'd hear today in Winnipeg, but silence after a stunning opening drive, and the all-time playoff catch leader gets one in the end zone.
The CFL on CBC, the road to the Grey Cup, brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns.
Great catch by one of the all-time playoff performers, Darren Flutie. A surgical drive by the Ticats.
Well, absolutely, but I mean, take a look right here. You're going to see Freezer right there. Look how wide open. The linebacker's here and the linebacker's here. He's right in the middle of them. He splits the linebackers. Nobody's in a proper position. Nobody picks him up. He reads it. Danny McManus sees it, and an early touchdown, as you say.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Winnipeg responds. Charles Roberts had a little trouble getting his hands on the rock, and now is drilled as he crosses the 25-yard line. Well, an impressive scoring drive. Danny McManus mixed it up, started with Grant. Moriali looked for Emerson, and then capped it with Flutie.
We talked about utilizing all your weapons. There's a perfect example, spreading the football around. Moriali gets things rolling. It just comes across. Another read right there. Gets in the coverage behind Armstrong. Then, of course, look what happens here. Capped off. Wide open. You cannot let Darren Flutie be that wide open.
I better not forget Troy Davis. Everybody seemed to be involved. Now Winnipeg goes to work. The outstanding player nominee in the East, Kahari Jones. And we may have another penalty here on a pass interference. The intended receiver, Jamie Stoddard, got bumped by Gerald Vaughn.
Well, they're just coming across, just going to try and get in the middle as we see them sorting out the penalty. But as you say, some contact.
Pass interference. Hamilton 39. First down.
It is Gerald Vaughn.
Good eyes, Chris, picking up Gerald Vaughn. Very physical, and as a result, he's going to get a lot of those. There's Jones, Roberts, Wade Miller, the fullback, reserving crew. Arlen Bruce, Stiegel, Gordon, Jamie Stoddard, the man who just had the flag thrown. Sutherland, McNeil, Dyson, Mudgeon, Sheridan getting his second start to left tackle.
Bombers have a first down. Charles Roberts, that speedy scat back, nearly busted that. And a saving tackle by Diedrich Mathis. Here's a guy that's unhappy with the amount of times he's carried the ball this year. Actually missed a practice, then missed a game, but has been assured he'll get plenty of work today.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. Right here, take a look at this block right here. You know who that is? That's Joe Montford. You know who he's going against? The rookie, Matt Sheridan. Matt Sheridan does an outstanding job of keeping Montford inside, allowing Roberts to get to the outside.
Might be one of those barometers to watch for today. The Bombers 9-0 when their three running backs have combined for 100 yards. A dangerous toss on the option to Roberts, who pulled it down and then is stopped at about the 53. A gain of 3. Fitzpatrick in the middle linebacker, Jason Lamar on the tackle, and Kahari making that into a bit of a safari.
Well, I mean, he's pitching to a short guy, Roberts, and obviously that happens, but good job by this defense stringing it out. Montford, Fitzpatrick, Philbrick, Gonzalo Floyd at the end. Jason Lamar, Woodson shelling the linebacking crew. And the secondary, Hitchcock, Butler, and Vaughn. Troy Saunders getting the start in place of Brandon Hamilton, and Mathis at the corner.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Troy Mills is checked in place of Wade Miller. Jones steps up, he'll take off, and Kahari Jones, a feet first slide, draws a flag, and they'll tap
that he adds to the game, and the fact that he can't find anything, he pulls the ball down, tucks it, takes off, picks up a big yard, and gets the roughing call against Gerald Vaughn again, number 39, who hits him as he slides down on the ground. Just going to sit back, look for something, sees the rush by Floyd, steps away from the pressure, now he runs, he's pointing to his receivers to block, goes for the baseball slide, and right there, Gerald Vaughn with the helmet-to-helmet hit that draws the flag.
Well, as physical a DB as there is in the league, Jones rushed for 73 yards in the blowout win against Hamilton back in August. Here's Roberts, dropped the ball, got a Dick Washington-like bounce back into his hands. He's stopped near the line of scrimmage at the 30. Again, the middle linebacker, Lamar.
Well, Jason Lamar does a great job of scraping to the outside, but this is the second time we've seen Roberts have a little trouble holding on to the football. Earlier on the opening kickoff, he dropped it and had to curtail it again, and both times being very fortunate to get the ball back.
Well, in a passing situation, the run-stopping middle linebacker is out. Clifford Ivory, the extra DB, comes in. And the Cats lining up along the line. Here comes the blitz. Jones read it. Here's another flag. Vaughn has two markers on the field, and he's pleading his case. He stretched out, and I thought may have made a great play, saving a touchdown.
Well, Chris, all they're going to do is they're going to bring everybody against Kahari and say, we bet you can't get the ball off in time. Mills Stigl comes in the middle of your screen right there, and Gerald Vaughn is all over.
No question.
Stigl, and it's a good call. And I know that Gerald Vaughn doesn't like to have his name mentioned this many times early, Chris, and that's the third flag against number 39.
This is a two-time All-Canadian in 98 and 99, and since his return this year, the Cats have been almost unbeatable, but now the Bombers knocking on the door in what has turned out to be a tremendous opening quarter. First down, Jones on the roll, and Roberts is drilled as he tried to get his hands on the football. Sean Woodson, a controversial all-star in these parts with the hit, and the Bombers really upset that it was Woodson, a third all-star from Hamilton in the Eastern linebacking core.
Well, absolutely, he's right there, and all he's going to do is just going to flow out. He's got number one. He's going to follow him all the way. Nice job of pressuring the quarterback by Joe Montford, forcing the throw, but Sean Woodson, as you say, who did get all his stats in one game, Johnny on the spot, stopping the play against Roberts.
Ball's on the 12, second and 10. Good protection for Jones into the end zone, and Gerald Vaughn in the thick of it again, and this time he's on the plus side.
Well, Gerald Vaughn helping out Troy Saunders at the cornerback position, working against Arlen Bruce III. Just going to work a little corner route, trying to get the ball to him. Arlen Bruce, who has not had big games against Hamilton, over 100 yards in his last game. They really want to utilize this guy. He's got great speed, great athletic ability, but as you can see right there, and again, very fortunate, if you look at that replay, Chris, Gerald Vaughn almost a little aggressive again, and in my estimation, quite fortunate not to get another flag thrown on him.
A left-footed Troy Westwood with a 19-yard field goal, so Winnipeg does answer back. A solid drive into the wind, aided by 3 Vaughn penalties. Cats with the lead. Well, to steal Dave Ritchie's words, both these coaches have drunk the good water. Dave Ritchie, a winner of the Grey Cup in '94. He was the defensive coordinator in '90 when Chris Walby and the Bombers won. Ronnie Lancaster, of course, a winner as a head coach in '93 and '99. And what a start this opening quarter. Both teams with points on the board with their opening possessions. Hamilton has opted to take the ball at the 35. McManus has to go back and pick it up. And now downfield, he throws it to the Hamilton bench wisely after a little malfunction on the snap from center.
Well, mishandles the football. Very fortunate to get the ball back. Just a little shotgun snap. Goes through the hands. Right there he wants it. Gets the good bounce and, of course, throws it out of bounds to avoid any problem.
Our spotter Larry Mueller also pointing out that Danny McManus right now looking right into the sun. And we wondered about that being a factor in the early going. Here's a 2nd and 10 play to Troy Davis. Davis jarred and dropped the ball, and Winnipeg's got it. Blue Bombers come up with it. The safety, Tom Europe, who was with Dave
nice job originally. Danny Mack had exactly what it was, just a little tap. Look at that ball just being held out there. Wayne Weathers coming from the backside defensive end position, putting a helmet on the football, knocking it loose. And Tom Europe, number 13, the safety, coming up with the ball. Nice little dump. He's going to make it. Now he's carrying that ball out like that. Look at the helmet right on the ball. That's exactly what you want to do. And Tom Europe, the safety, comes up with the first big turnover of the game.
Wayne Weathers, one of 4 Manitoba Bisons in the Blue Bomber lineup. So Winnipeg takes over inside the Hamilton 40, and Jones on a roll again. Gets outside. Kahari Jones dumped by Jason Lamar down at the 24, but that scrambling has been impressive by Jones twice already.
Well, you can't lose. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of respect as a runner, but you cannot lose contain. And all they're going to do is he's going to come outside now. He's going to go to the outside. Joel Montford inside. Kahari goes to the outside. There's nothing but daylight. Nice job of Lamar to track him down, but not after a big gain.
I picked it up. You picked it up?
Tom Europe with the fumble recovery that has Winnipeg knocking at the door. First down, and it's Troy Mills, the oldest player in the CFL who has never played in a Grey Cup game. Short gain for Mills, the former Eskimo.
And that's right there why this game is so big. This is called the Mini Grey Cup, because once you get to the Cup, everything else takes care of itself. But this is the game to get you to the show.
Did you find what Danny McManus said yesterday? This is a tougher game to get ready for and play than the Grey Cup itself?
Absolutely. Everything is heightened. All your senses are going crazy.
3 for Mills. It's 2nd and 7. As the Bombers get back in the red zone, looking for more than 3. And there's Gerald Vaughn with an interception. Oh, what an active first quarter for Vaughn. He stepped in front of Stiegel, and I think Stiegel thought he might have drawn another flag.
Well, I got to tell you, this is exactly what they did last time when Vaughn got the penalty. And all they're going to do is it's just going to sit it, come back. He's going to throw deep. They're bringing everybody. He's looking for Stiegel. But look at how Joe comes right over. Gerald Vaughn comes right over Milt Stiegel to make a great interception and says, you know what, fool me once, shame on me, but I'm going to make you pay later.
Gerald Vaughn, such a physical defender. Ron Lancaster's told us in the past his receivers hate practicing against him.
And his receivers say they're better for the fact that they do practice against him.
Hamilton takes over. They're backed up at the Tiger Cats 6. But with a 4-point lead, Davis, 2 or 3 hard-earned yards against the top defense against the run. So impressive. 78.2 yards a game against the Winnipeg Bombers on the run. 26 yards better than the next best defense, Montreal's.
Well, just a nice job. They're just going to run a little delayed draw, trying to get the defenders up the field before they give the ball to Davis, but the defenders of Winnipeg do a nice job of staying at home on the play.
2nd and 8. Danny McManus nearly had one picked off there. He was looking for Morreale, and Brian Clark got a hand on it.
Well, the very same play they tried in the first drive, getting the coverage. Morreale working against Brian Clark. This time 48. Brian Clark sees it, gets enough of a tip on the ball to not allow Mike Morreale to come up with the catch.
So Paul Osbaldiston will provide the first punt of the game, and he stands in the Hamilton end zone. The breeze in his back. Marcus Howell and Charles Roberts to the deep end, and remember, Roberts is capable of going all the way. Flag goes down as they bumped Osbaldiston. It was late coming out, and Jerron Bolden. Well, Danny Barrett talked about Bolden's ability to block punts, and they came close, too close.
Contacting the kicker, Winnipeg 31. 21. First down.
It is 21, and that is Jerron Bolden.
Well, Jerron Bolden does a nice job of beating, and he gets in right here. He's right there, and all he does, he gets inside, and his momentum carries him. But Paul Osbaldiston does a great veteran move of keeping the foot in the air for the longest time. A little bit of an Oscar performance, but it works.
The old Osbaldiston spinorama. And again, the official took a long look before he tossed the marker, and that is a huge penalty. Gives Hamilton the ball back. And now a little more breathing room at the 18-yard line for McManus. 4 receivers right side, counter to Troy Davis, and he's up to the 23. Troy Davis led Hamilton in rushing, 527 yards in just over a half season. And there's no surprise that we've got a lot of penalties in this opening quarter.
Absolutely. You look at the board, I mean, penalties 45, 56. Look at the yards, 521, 412, but the average, 103 to 130 a game. It's a lot of penalties. And at this time of the year, you really want to curtail those things.
There's McManus in second down, and Andrew Gregg, who had a career year, climbed the ladder to pull that down. He was looking for a face mask penalty as Harold Nash made the tackle. The Sault Ste. Marie native with his breakout season.
Well, nice job. He's just going to work against Coleman. He comes in here, and now Darren Flutie gets shoved off by Harold Nash as they're trying to switch coverage, and you can see the face mask right there. Andrew Gregg calling for it. He doesn't get the call from the referee, but Harold Nash Jr. definitely with the hand up on the grill.
And Gregg, the favorite receiver against Winnipeg this year, 421 yards in the 4 games. Here's Amerson with a catch at midfield, brought down by the safety Tom Europe.
Well, you're going to have a mismatch. Anytime you put Amerson in, they're going to try and cover him with Antonio Armstrong, the middle linebacker. All this is a play action pass. Now look, right there, there's the guys. They're going to try and cover him. Nice throw over the stretched hands of Antonio Armstrong, but that's not a good mismatch or a match.
Archie has become a more favored receiver in recent weeks. A first down at midfield. Danny McManus over the middle, and the ball dropped this time by Amerson.
Well, Amerson thinking he should have come up with that catch, clapping his hands, says, you know what, keep coming back to me. I'll keep making those catches. All Winnipeg says is, we're going to come after you. Winnipeg plays an aggressive style defense. They're going to bring more guys. Now, Danny has to get rid of the football. Archie Amerson recognized that, cuts inside the coverage of Harold Nash, but unable to come up with the catch.
Still in the first quarter, and Danny McManus has already gone to 6 different receivers. 2nd and 10 from midfield. McManus again with time in traffic, has a completion to Darren Flutie, but it's short of the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Ron Lancaster looks like he's going to have a decision here. Well, they may be 2 yards short of the first down.
Well, that's exactly what it is. They're waiting to see where the referee is going to put the ball down. But a nice job of threading the needle right between the coverage by Danny McManus. He puts it on the numbers between the 8 and 2 of Darren Flutie, who was in double coverage from Brian Clark and Harold Nash.
Well, now they're saying the pass was incomplete. Boy, there was enough time in there to have a video replay, and yet CFL does not have that video replay option, but somebody spotted it and finally got the word to Dave Ewell, who passes it on to McManus.
Well, you can see Danny McManus having a word there, and he never gets very agitated, but he feels that this was not the correct call. And as we watch it slow-mo right in there, and there's the ball, and he's got it 1-2, and it comes out late. But it looks like he's still got Cradle between the legs.
Looks like a catch to me. It would have been 2 yards short. Instead, Osbaldiston kicks and angles this. Roberts awaiting it on the sideline, but out of his reach. And so Osbaldiston places the ball inside the 20 after a 37-yard punt.
And it just shows the importance of a penalty. We got the roughing the passer on Osbaldiston. They were punting from their end zone. All of a sudden now we have a little bit of change of field position after a bit of a drive. Winnipeg, instead of starting after that initial play, they got to start on their own 25-yard line.
You're right, no points, but a valuable drive for McManus and the Tiger Cats.
Big time.
21 seconds, clock running in the final minute of the first quarter. Then they'll change ends, and Winnipeg will operate with the wind at their back. It's been a slow starting Bomber team this year for 14-4. 8 times they've trailed after 1 quarter. Here's Charles Roberts. This man set Division I AA records for running, once over 400 yards in a game rushing the football, and we expect him to be busy today. Well, a good first quarter. Hamilton struck first. Winnipeg answered with 3. 7-3 Tiger Cats.
Grey Cup. Well, it was somewhere in the midst of that mess of humanity. Parker running wide, trying to get away from Dwyer. He does. He's over.
While we celebrate our 50th year of covering the CFL on CBC, back in '56, the Eskimos with a 50-27 win over Montreal. 10 times Hamilton and Winnipeg have met in the Grey Cup, 6 times between 1957 and 65. 4 of those were won by the Blue Bombers, including the Great Fog Bowl game and an overtime game in '61. There are the first quarter numbers. The passing yards a little deceiving because of the pass interference.
That's exactly what people are saying. Well, they got no passing yards. How did they get 3 points? Well, 3 penalties against number 39, Gerald Vaughn. We don't want to bring up his name again, but it brought him down and allowed Troy Westwood to kick a field goal.
2nd and 3. Kahari Jones up top, and Milt Stiegel has it go off the fingertips. And really, the game is on. It's Hamilton blitzing and Jones trying to get to Stiegel time
it's
after
going to
time.
happen, and why wouldn't you? I mean, that's the guy. He's the game breaker. He's got the speed. He's flat out behind Dwayne Butler. Watch this. Little bump. Now, you can't play the jam coverage when you're twisting your body like that. Nice job of throwing the football, and as you say, just past the fingertips, but does he pay the price after throwing his football? Oh, yeah.
And again, that bump may not have been as effective as Don Southern wanted, but it did throw the play off by his right.
It may have, absolutely. My point is, I don't think you want him that wide open, though.
Here's the veteran Bob Cameron, 47 years of age. And Amerson tossed down after misplaying it. Doug Hawking, the Hawk, as good a special team player as there's been in the league over the last decade. And behind the play, Gerald Vaughn was tangled up with Wade Miller, another one of those great special teams guys.
Well, Doug Hawken, as you say, doesn't get a whole lot of opportunity to perform with the first unit on defense, but really makes his mark on the special teams, getting down there with a big tackle on Archie Amerson.
45-yard punt. Amerson lost 8 on the return, and now it's Hamilton going into that north breeze. McManus had a hot hand with the wind. He goes to Davis, and Troy Davis, 3rd time today that he has got very positive first down yardage.
Well, and you know what? They're going to run a double tight end offense. He's the lone back, and all they're going to do is have 2 guys on each side of the tackle. Give him a hole. He breaks that initial plane of defenders. The next guy to make contact with him is the guy that has to bring him down, and that's Tom Europe, the safety.
9 yards for Davis, who had just 34 yards rushing last week in the Eastern semifinal against Montreal. And again, the Ticats last in the league this year, averaging 86 yards a game on the ground. Their leading rusher this year plays for the Edmonton Eskimos, Ron Williams.
Well, I think they got a good one here in Troy Davis.
2nd and a yard, back to Davis. He'll get the first down and carries a few bodies for extra yardage close to midfield.
And in all the games we've watched Troy Davis, not only does he get stronger each time he carries the football, but I've really been impressed with his physical nature. He doesn't try to avoid many people. I mean, he's not the biggest man, but he really likes contact. Head down, shoulders down, legs driving, and of course he's got that big offensive line. We're going to keep driving.
Davis 5'7", 190. Charles Roberts of Winnipeg, also 5'7", but he's a real scat back at 171. First down, this time play action, and McManus. Flutie was held up by Harold Nash, and the pass incomplete.
Absolutely. Darren Flutie working against Harold Nash, just comes in there to get a little bit of a jam. Darren Flutie unable to get away from it. Just going to play him right there. Look, right there has got him right now. A little bit of a grab right there on both sides of the shoulder. That's a good hold from an offensive lineman's point of view. But doesn't allow Flutie to carry on with his pass route.
He's suggesting another flag could have been thrown there.
Well, far be it from me, but yes.
How objective of you. 2nd and 10. McManus in the flat. That's Davis with the catch, but Nash all over him. And it will be a short gain to midfield, just a yard or 2. And a punting situation for the Tiger Cats.
Well, nice job of the Winnipeg secondary taking away anything deep that Danny Mac originally wanted to throw to, and they had to throw to his release valve. And as you say, Harold Nash right up there to make the play.
So Osbaldiston in. Boy, veteran kickers here today. Cameron on one side, a 22-year vet. And Osbaldiston doing both. Punting and place kicking for the Cats. And here's Roberts. Did stay in bounds. Now loses yardage as he ran into Warren Musica. So the star special team players are making some early noise. Musica has been one of the best for the Tiger Cats all season long.
Welcome back to Winnipeg. Ticats lead 7-3. I'm with Jamie Barham of the University of Manitoba Bisons, who are going to the Vanier Cup. Few people surprised in the East yesterday when you beat McMaster, but not in the West.
No, definitely not. We knew we were going to win. We went into the game feeling confident, and offensively, defensively, and special teams, we really executed.
Quick thought on playing the St. Mary's Huskies in the Vanier Cup.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great day for football, and the whole team's looking forward to it.
December 1st, Skydome, Vanier Cup. Be there, guys.
Now, we enjoyed the Churchill Bowl yesterday. That was a hard-fought battle, and Manitoba prevailing. And make sure you get your tickets. That's the best bargain in sports. The CIS and good Canadian University football. Kahari Jones hooking up with Milt Stiegel. And that's his first completion of the day. First down, and Roberts tries the left side and spun into a tackle. He was hit by Sean Woodson. And up to the 31-yard line, maybe a pair for the rookie Roberts.
Well, what they want to do with Roberts is give him the ball deep in the backfield. The reason, he has great speed, and he has a reason and an ability to find a hole. But on that play, as you say, he may have avoided the first one, but spun into the second tackler.
Brett McNeil was saying yesterday he is so fast, he was actually hitting the holes before they were open earlier in the year. A little better in his timing now. This is a passing situation. Jones over the middle. There's Roberts, and he caught it at the line of scrimmage, and Chris Schelling made the tackle. Now, Winnipeg thinks they've got a mismatch when they send Roberts out, but Schelling is a DB playing linebacker, so it's not that much of a mismatch.
Well, I think if you either go to the wide side or the short side, working against Schelling or Woodson, both of them are converted DBs. As we watch Montford working against Dave Mudge, Mudge doing a real nice job of being patient, just staying patient, pushing him to the outside. And of course, McNeil coming in there, giving him his 2 cents worth.
So after points on each team's opening drive, the defenses have flexed their muscles. Ticats nearly got to Cameron. Amerson from his 30. And Archie across the 40-yard line as he found a little running room. So we're 5 minutes into the second quarter in Winnipeg. 7-3 Tiger Cats. Well, it's been a fun place to be this weekend. This city is charged about their football team and this game. And what a year it's been. The 12 consecutive victories, 14-4, and they can taste their first Grey Cup since 1993. First Eastern Final since '94.
Well, there's a lot of people with their bags packed, ready to get on that plane to go to Montreal if it turns out in their favor.
Danny McManus back to work. Andrew Grigg was streaking down the sidelines. Byron Capers step for step.
Little one-on-one coverage, as you say, streaking down the sidelines. Going against Byron Capers. All starts with the protection, though. Carl Coulter in the middle of the screen, trying to help out. Ball thrown. Ball just a little underthrown. Andrew Grigg kind of have to break it off the route, coming back inside, which allows Capers to come back and make that play.
Capers 3 years in Toronto, but released by both the Argos and BC this year. He was a DB's, found a home on the corner in Winnipeg. 2nd and 10, and the play doesn't get off. It's like a time count violation against Hamilton.
Time count violation. Hamilton, number 14. Still second down.
You don't see that very often with the veteran Danny McManus. Obviously he's seeing something, trying to change the call, taking a little bit too much time getting the snap off.
So it'll be 2nd and 15. McManus started 5 for 6. 3 for 7 since that opening drive. See if the Bombers put on the heat. They dump it off the screen, and Davis gets to the 45. Brian Clark has had a solid first half. Maybe to send a message to those all-star voters.
Well, the screen and what happens on the play, though, is as Troy Davis gets it, 64, Seth Dittman, he wants to be in front of Davis. He ends up being behind him and actually knocks him down. And when you set up a screen, you always want to have the big guys leading the charge, not in the back.
Osbaldiston, a punt into the wind that we're trying to gauge. It doesn't look as serious as we first might have expected. Forecast that the wind will pick up as the day goes on. And Oz just got it away, bumped again, Bolden again, and Hamilton's going to get the football back. Well, we thought that a punt block could be a difference maker today. It might in fact be too aggressive in trying to get one.
Well, that's the hardest part. How do you gauge when to turn down? I mean, obviously you're going after the football. The biggest thing they tell anybody is to go for the point where the block is going to, don't go after the kicker, go to the point block area. And he goes for that area, just misses it, and catches the back leg, the plant leg.
And this one did not require a Gemini nomination.
No, this was a definite good call by the official.
Let's join Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Chris. On October the 28th in Montreal, Osbaldiston slipped on a line following a kickoff, and he had a slight tear in his calf muscle on the left leg. He said it bothered him for a couple of weeks, but when I talked to him in the pregame warm-up this morning, he said it was feeling pretty good, better than it had in some time.
Missed 3 field goals last week in the Eastern Semi, all from 45 yards or further out. As you get another look at Bolden's second contacting the kicker penalty of the game. I wondered if maybe his mechanics were still off from the injury, but instead they said the wind was a little tricky last week. That Ivor win. First down for Hamilton via the penalty, and Amerson has a catch at the 45, close to another Hamilton first down.
Danny Mack just does a little play action bootleg. It's actually with Danny Mack, it's just a half bootleg. He comes to the outside, gets outside to contain. A nice job of throwing the football, and Archie Amerson going low to make that catch.
This may require a measurement. Chatting with Ron Lancaster yesterday afternoon, he said it's going to be a loud warm-up tomorrow. Amerson and Bolden, I guess, two of the guys that like to chirp as much as anybody in the CFL. Archie never stops, and apparently Bolden can give him a run for his money.
But you know what, going back to that punt block by Bolden, the thing that would concern me is the fact that Bolden has gotten in there. Yes, he's got 2 roughing the kicker penalties, but you know what? You don't want to allow him that freedom to get in there, and I think they got to do a better job of blocking Bolden, or he's going to get one today.
Emerson got a first down. Troy Davis a first down carry, and he's hit right at the line. Big Doug Brown, the top Canadian pick in the East. What a first year he's had in the Canadian Football League. A year on the Buffalo Bills practice roster, 2 years as a starter with the Washington Redskins, and he's been overpowering in his CFL debut year.
Well, we're going to take a look and see the action. You talked about these two guys and the fact they like to talk to each other, but look at that. Right there, you got Bolden working against Amerson. They collide, they talk, they push, they shove, they exchange numbers.
I don't know about verbally, but Bolden certainly's got the size advantage. Second down, and McManus is drilled. Dave Donaldson, who rocked McManus in their final regular season meeting, gets to Danny Mack again.
And I tell you what happens here, Chris. If the secondary is not covering, this is not a sack. Dave Donaldson needs the rest of his teammates to do their job. They do it, and that allows Dave Donaldson to come from the outside. He comes from a far away. Now look at it. 1, 2, 3. There he comes. He comes from the halfback position. That's a total timing sack, and everybody has to be working on the same page.
The only difference between that and the last time they met is McManus didn't see Donaldson coming the last time.
The last time was a lot quicker. This time he sat back there, had a chance to look, but as you say, the defenders of the Bomber secondary did a great job of covering.
Hamilton 34.
Jared Smith moved too early on the third down punt, so they'll march it back 5.
Not a big play, but as you say, by Dave Donaldson coming there. It's not often you see Danny McManus on his back.
Matt Robichaud, the snap to Osbaldiston, no rush. And a bounce to Roberts at the 25. Boy, number 1 can turn on a dime. Can he? Good return up to the 40 for Charles Roberts as Danny Mack tries to shake off the effects of that sack. He doesn't get hit too often behind that Hamilton O-line. We talked about the one a few weeks ago. Watch this one by Donaldson.
He's got the pump fake on that one, and he just gets rocked on that play. But the same guy delivering the blow, and that's Dave Donaldson.
Les Brown, the defensive coaches, told me Dave Donaldson, the most improved player in that Bomber D this year. At the 40, Jones back to work, trying to escape the rush, and finally throws it away.
Good initial pressure from the inside. Philbrick and Fitzpatrick getting up there, forcing Kahari to go to the outside. Eventually dragged down, but not before he throws the ball away.
One of the best days on the Canadian sports calendar, the Eastern Final, followed, of course, out west. Today it'll be from Commonwealth Stadium, the Eskimos and the Stampeders, another Battle of Alberta. Mark Lee, Glenn Suter, Scott Russell, Brian Williams, Pinball Clements, and Danny Barrett watching that one. 2nd and 10 for Kahari. Here comes the blitz from Schelling. Again open, Milt Stegel, and he's gone. Touchdown, Winnipeg.
Talked about it. You're going to blitz Dwayne Butler, a little bit of a hand jab, but you cannot let this guy go free. At least, like you said last time, Chris, Dwayne Butler got enough of a jolt on him to slow him down, and that allowed the pass to fall incomplete. But this time, he runs free and clear. And as you said, the end result, a big, huge play by the guy that's always killing the Tiger Cats, Milt Stegel.
That is the risk you take with the blitzing Don Southern defense, and this time Jones found his go-to guy for a 70-yard touchdown.
Well, Chris Schelling coming. Kahari, Jones, and Stegel make him pay.
The explosive Milt Stegel led the Canadian Football League in touchdown catches this year with 14.
Well, I mean, this is it. You got your linebackers, and all they're going to do is going to blitz. Now, when they blitz, he makes them pay. They're coming right up the middle right now. It's a timing pattern. Nobody can cover. Nobody gets a jam on Milt Stegel, number 85. And when he's running free and clear like that, Chris, he's going to burn you 9 out of 10 times.
Westwood the kickoff, and Amerson has trouble scooping it up back at his 2. And Seppa O'Reilly limits the return, backing up the Cats. Well, the touchdown started with a good Charles Roberts punt return, getting the ball to the 40.
And as you say, it ends by burning the Ticat blitz with a huge touchdown toss to Milt Stegel.
You wonder if Don Southern's going to have to change things up now.
Well, you know what? I think he has to. I mean, we've watched this. They've come with the same blitz, and every time they've tried to hit Stegel.
I think now the Cats' concern is they are backed up. Winnipeg with its first lead of the day. McManus has it batted down. Big Wayne Weathers, who's come into his own in his 4th year with the Bombers, got his mitts on the football.
Nice job. He's working against Seth Dittman, and Seth Dittman does everything he possibly can to keep him out of Danny McManus's face, except he's working right in the bottom here, and all he's going to do, he can't get, look at that's a nice job, but what he does is second best, and that's put his hands up, try to deflect the football, which he does successfully.
Weather's a bronze medalist here in Winnipeg at the Pan Am Games in wrestling in '98, 2nd and 10. McManus, a quick hitter, and a catch by Darren Flutie. And he is going to be close, but I think short of the first down. Antonio Armstrong hauled him down. No, they get a good spot and move the chains. That's a key first down for the deadly combination of McManus to Flutie.
Well, the nice thing on that play is Andrew Grigg clears the area, and that allows Flutie to come back into the inside, into the cleared out area, and make the catch in front of Harold Nash.
Boy, I thought that was a generous spot. Didn't think he got past the 21, but they give it to him. And now Moriali didn't get there in the flat. Marvin Coleman, the former Stampeder, who's so used to those Edmonton-Calgary battles, in coverage against Moriali.
But also, we talked about the fact that Danny McManus has to throw into the wind, and this ball gets pushed down. It's almost forced down by the wind and falls short to the intended receiver, Mike Moriali.
So McManus now faced with another 2nd and 10, trying to keep the ball out of Winnipeg's hands, trying to improve field position. And the fans at the stadium revved up. Long out, and the pass is caught by Moriali. It will be short of the first down at the 27.
Well, it comes back to the same look, just a little bit longer of a play to develop. The fact that Moriali has to come all the way across the football field to make this catch. As he makes the catch, though, he ends up coming back outside, short of the first down.
Baldiston back in already twice today. Jerron Bolden has contacted the veteran Oz. And Osbaldiston to punt into the wind. And now the wind again seems to be picking up. Here's Roberts. Little stutter step, finds the seam, and is dragged down at the Hamilton 46.
And you can just see how that special team and the returning ability of Roberts allows Winnipeg's offense to keep gaining better and better field position to start their drives.
32-yard punt, 12 yards the return for Roberts. And the ball just inside the 47-yard line with 3.5 minutes to go in an entertaining opening half of the Eastern Final. Bombers working with the lead now. Jones back to pass, and that intended for Stiegel behind him, and yet there's a flag down on the play, but it is going against Winnipeg as Montfort was held up and helps the official with the signal.
Oh, Joe Montfort.
Holding, Winnipeg 67. First down repeated.
We talked about the fact that he is going to alternate. He's not always going to. What he's going to do is try and get away from the blocking of Dave Mudge and go work on the rookie. He does that on that play, working against Matt Sheridan. Matt Sheridan does what he has to do, and in this instance, takes the holding penalty.
Joe Montfort, who works out in the offseason along with Milt Stiegel. He says we're enemies today. Helped Stiegel with his strength training. Stiegel helped Montfort with his speed training, and Schelling steps into Roberts with a big hit. Jason Lamar there too. Chris Schelling, who had a brilliant year for Hamilton, an all-star season, a 3-point Bomber lead here in Winnipeg.
Welcome back to Winnipeg. Coming up at halftime today, we'll have the Standard Life heroes of the CFL. We'll look at Milt Stiegel, who already has a big TD here. And of course, Brian will have his panel discussion with Mike Clemens and Danny Barrett. And don't forget the Western Final from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. It's the Eskimos hosting the Calgary Stampeders.
CFL blessed with brilliant weather for the playoff games this year. A little breezy here, but that's not unusual as Jones airs it out, looking for Arlen Bruce. and a jump ball knocked down by Diedrich Mathis.
And you know, you were wondering, where are they going to bring the blitz? Where are they going to go after? Well, they lined up like they were going to bring the blitz, and they dropped everybody out. Just came with a 4-man rush, got some good pressure on Kahari Jones, who threw the ball up. And the wind kind of took it away. You can see right there, 4-man rush right there. He puts the ball up, takes hit late from Gonzalo Floyd. The ball kind of hangs up in the air and allows Diedrich Mathis to come back and get a hand on it.
Sets up 3rd down, and Bob Cameron comes back in. Montfort came free and put a little heat. Here's Corey Grant on the return and drilled as he crossed the 20-yard line. Well, Bob, quite a story at age 47, and still not sure if this is his last year. He said the second half of the season he's been punting better. The backs felt better.
Well, that's the big thing. In the beginning of the year, he was going to the back and hamstring problems, and he thought, you know what, this is obviously a sign of age. But the people who don't know Bob Cameron, he keeps himself in such great shape all year, and now he feels that he's kicking as well as he has in the past. And he says, you know what, now I've got a question mark. I've got to answer it, sit down at the end of the season. Obviously, the result of this year will have a big factor on whether he plays again.
Danny McManus and the Tiger Cats have punted the ball on their last 4 possessions. Troy Davis trying to turn the corner up to the 28, close to 5 for Davis. Harold Nash stepped up to make the tackle.
Close to 5, but a nice job of the interior and the defensive end on the play to string it out. It's going to go off tackle, has to bounce, has to take it to the outside. Now he's just looking to find something, some kind of opening, as you say. Harold Nash, who's been involved in a lot of plays early already this game, Chris, comes up with another tackle.
As you can see, the wind is picking up again. Bomber fans don't mind that ball rolling back a few yards. Well, if you joined us late, the opening drive of the game for Hamilton was capped by a touchdown pass to Darren Flutie. Winnipeg has answered back first with a field goal and then a Stiegel touchdown. And on 2nd and 5, Troy Davis is going to be short of the 1st down.
Just a quick hitter up the middle, trying to give it to Davis. Hopefully he can find some daylight and break it and pick up a 1st down to keep the chains moving. Gets the football, looks for the hole, cuts back a little bit. And Oki Brechterfield, number 19, coming in making the play along with the rest of his defensive partners, Fortney and company.
Under 2 minutes to play, 1st half. And the Bombers are going to get the football back in decent field position, or better if Roberts gets his way. Again, Winnipeg not rushing. Good line drive punt. And it's Marcus Howell, the Winnipeg native. And Howell ran into one of his blockers on the way up to the 47-yard line. 39-yard punt into that breeze. A 6-yard return for Howell.
I'm still a little surprised about the play selection by the Ticats on the last drive. Almost a little conservative at times to hand it off 2 times in a row, looking just to kind of kill the clock, but you're not going to do that when you get stopped. And as you say, now Winnipeg with 1:34 left and decent field position to start with.
There's R.D. Lancaster on the headset. Dennis McPhee also up top for Hamilton. Lancaster in constant communication with Cody Ledbetter. Marlon Bruce the catch, and he'll be drilled by Troy Saunders, who's had a quiet day so far. Saunders the replacement on the corner for the injured Brandon Hamilton, a former Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Saunders earlier this year played DB for Hamilton, but his natural position is on the corner.
Well, absolutely, goes out there. Nice job of throwing the football out there, and they're really going to test this kid. I mean, one of the things they like, Arlen Bruce, he's a guy that's got great athletic abilities, and he is considered to be a future star.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7 for Jones. Here comes the rush, and the pass off the one hand of Charles Roberts, incomplete. So the Ticats defense stiffens as Larry Fitzpatrick was breathing down on Kahari Jones.
Well, they're just going to bring again a 4-man rush. It seems like since they got burnt by Stiegel earlier in the quarter, they've decided that we're going to have to start pressuring Kahari Jones with 4-man and change up the look we're giving him, because we can't afford to give up the big plays like they did to Stiegel earlier.
Cameron, the kick, bouncing into the hands of Corey Grant. And he is swarmed inside the 20-yard line. The long snapper, Steve Glenn, one of the first men down. 43-yard punt, 3 on the return, and now down to 61 seconds remaining. They say Steve Glenn. Bob Cameron told me yesterday Steve Glenn is as good as anybody he's ever seen, snapping that punt snap back to him.
Well, I know they brought another snapper in a training camp this year just for the fear factor. They thought that Steve Glenn was going to get an NFL tryout, because if you can do that down there, you can do it anywhere, and he's a valued commodity on this Bomber football club.
You said conservative in the last series. Let's see what they do here. Stay on the ground. Troy Davis busts it up the middle for 7.
Well, the nice thing about this one, as opposed to the other 2 carries, is they got good yardage on first down and making it a second and short situation where the short pass is still an option.
Lamar McGriggs was in on the tackle. Winnipeg calls a timeout. They stop the clock, anticipating an opportunity to get the ball one more time in decent field position. And that'll give Ron Lancaster, Cody Ledbetter, and Danny McManus time to confer on their second down and 3 to 4 yards.
Well, I think it's a good job, a smart decision. I mean, if you have the timeout, use it. I mean, anytime you got a chance to force, if you can stop Hamilton, force him to punt, you have a chance maybe of Charles Roberts touching the football on a punt return, and we know that every time he touches that ball, he can make things happen.
Seven seconds on the clock. 2nd and 3. Again, it's Davis. He sidestepped Brichterfield and gets the first down at the 34-yard line. Lamar McGriggs, his 2nd straight tackle, a player released early last year by Ron Lancaster.
Well, just a nice job of taking it, little stutter step, fools Inoki Brichterfield, gets him to commit to the inside, and breaks it to the outside. In doing so, picks up the first down and keeps the drive going with 45 seconds left.
Does Hamilton stay conservative, or do they take a shot? They'll stay on the ground, and Troy Davis is getting the job done up to the 44. Byron Capers and to move up from his cornerback position to make the stop. Hamilton has a timeout, but considering the win, they probably have at least 30 yards more to go to get into field goal range.
But as you can see from that replay, all the players, the offensive linemen of the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the fullback have all picked up one man, and that allows a scene to be created, and Troy Davis takes advantage of it.
First down, play action, McManus is downed. And there's Lamar McGriggs. He's been the best defender on this series.
Well, Lamar McGriggs comes on the blitz. Troy Davis can't sit back beside the quarterback to pick up the blitz. Your running back has got to get up in the hole and meet 36 in the hole. He can't sit here. He's got to be up there. That's where you meet him. Now, you go down on him. You got to take the man. Don't do that. He hops over, sacks McManus.
5 quarterback sacks on the year for McGriggs. 2nd sack of the game for the Blue Bombers. And that changes the game plan entirely. They'll put out a knee and wrap up the first half. Every bit the battle that we anticipated. McManus and company struck first, but now we're on Lancaster's side, down by a field goal at the half as we join Steve.
Thank you very much, Chris. Dave Ritchie, it looked like it took your team about 1 quarter to knock off the rust after that layoff.
We came out and he moved the ball down the field pretty well on us in that first series. The wind is going to be a big factor in this football game.
Dave, your defense rock solid. What changes might you make offensively for the second half?
Well, if we just catch the football when we're in the open, because Milt was wide open, and he didn't catch the football. So Milt's got a little bit of whatever you want to call rust or whatever, because he hadn't played in a while. But we'll have to come out and do a couple things, and we can run the football, and we just need to do it.
Dave, good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Dave Ritchie and the Bombers head to the dressing room here in Winnipeg with a 3-point lead at the half over the Ticats.
Halftime in Winnipeg, Blue Bombers lead the Ticats by a score of 10-7. Back here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, where later this afternoon the Eskimos will host the Calgary Stampeders, joined again by Danny Barrett and Michael Pinball Clemens. Let's begin with you, Danny. This game, at least off the first drive, looked like it might be a 50-48 game.
Exactly right. You look at Hamilton comes out, McManus puts together a nice 7-play drive, a good mixture of plays that he put together. First of all, he's giving the ball to Davis, in the running game, trying to get him involved early to establish his running attack, and he does that. Nice run here, get some good yardage. He's actually having a pretty good first half as whoever running the football. And then to cap off that drive, you look at the situation here, McManus steps back, look for his favorite target, Flutie, great catch to end that drive, a great opener for those guys. And then Winnipeg had to go and make some adjustments, which they did, and now they're playing pretty good football.
Now, everyone talks Winnipeg defense. Prior to the game, you said look out for this Hamilton defense.
No question about it. This Hamilton defense did a great job, especially early in the game. at the end of the half there, when they really controlled the tempo in terms of having the ball pushed down into their own end down here. But we watch right here as we watch the screen, Gerald Vaughn had 3 plays in the first half, or in the first quarter, where he had penalties against him. He comes back, he responds, he gets an interception. Now, he went to the sideline after he got those 3 penalties, nodding his head, telling his guys that he was going to be better.
Now, prior to the game, you had a piece of tape. It looked like the same tape in the game today, Donaldson hitting McManus.
Exactly right. And again, when Winnipeg has to make a play, they get very aggressive with their defense. Almost identical to the start of the game. Only difference here, Donaldson comes through the middle. He has a quick feet. Again, another big hit on McManus. The only difference here, the ball didn't come loose. But again, very aggressive. When they have to make a play, Winnipeg is going to bring some pressure.
Now, you talk about being aggressive. Yes. Hamilton showed blitz. Southern likes to blitz. It really wasn't a blitz. They showed the blitz, and bang, you warned, look out for the big play.
Wow. We talked about Safari Jones being the tour guide here, and the tour guide goes back and look, his co-star, Milt Stegall, gets behind the defense. This is the second time he got behind the defense. Danny and I were talking together off screen about, hey, they're not going to run this defense again because Milt Stegall got behind them. And here, they run it again, and Milt Stegall gets behind him again. This time he scores the touchdown, biggest play in the half.
A couple of seconds before we go to Winnipeg. What do you look for in the second half? First, you, Danny.
I think Winnipeg is going to keep the same adjustments on defense, keep pressuring McManus, especially against the wind. And I think that's the key. In the fourth quarter, he's going to have to step it up and hopefully keep doing the same thing.
Michael, what do you look for?
Look for defenses to continue to dominate. Now, if this game comes down to the end, the team who's been best at the end of the game in the entire league is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Halftime, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with a 10-7 lead. You're watching the conference finals on CBC. We'll rejoin Steve Armitage, Chris Cuthbert, and Chris Walby in Winnipeg.
A tight defensive struggle in the first half. I don't think that surprises you, Ron.
No, it's a normal final. Both defenses are playing well. The longer you go, the bigger the defenses become. We had some communication problems on a few plays this first half. We get those straight and play good 30 minutes.
What adjustments will you make offensively for the second half?
None. We just got to try to execute a little bit better. I think it's a little bit late to start messing around with things. We just got to be able to do a better job on their defense, and same thing for them. So it's a good game.
Win going to be a factor?
I think it is a little bit, so it's our decision. We're going to take that in and try to get the win going home.
It's interesting, Dave Ritchie said earlier in the week that the coin toss was going to be critical, having the win in the fourth quarter. Winnipeg lost the toss. Hamilton will have the win in the fourth quarter. Strange stat, doesn't mean anything, but Winnipeg's 9-0 when losing the toss this year. Here's Charles Roberts, look out! And up to the 40. Every time he touches the ball, he reminds me of mini Mac Heron. Remember Mac Heron in the early 70s? Every time he gets his hands on the ball, big things could happen.
Well, that's the thing. It's got such a great change of direction. See Kahari Jones coming out. Start the second half. Take a look at that comparison. 12 of 19, only 4 of 11, 85 yards. Obviously the big touchdown to Milt Stegall, 70-yarder.
The one thing, though, that doesn't show there that could come into play in the second half, Chris, when Kahari Jones scrambled for a couple of big runs, 27 yards on the ground in the field goal march, really seemed to stretch that defense. And there's a ball off the fingertips of Jamie Stoddard, the University of Alberta product. Incomplete.
Well, trying to get him out as we look at the first half stats. And Hamilton, 14-7 first downs, time of possession. Look at that, 18 minutes to 11. But Winnipeg has capitalized on the big plays. Both teams penalized. We've had Gerald Vaughn with a couple pass interferences, Bolden with a couple roughing the kicker penalties. So it's only 3 points separating them with a half to go, so anything can happen now.
2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz over the middle, and Stiegel drops the ball. You heard Dave Ritchie. I was surprised he put a little heat on his star receiver in his interview with Steve. That one behind Stiegel, but catchable.
Well, I think it's just the fact that when you have a guy like Stiegel who can make such circus catches, that if he doesn't catch every ball, you're thinking he's something wrong with him right there. And as you see, he tries to adjust, turn us around. Look at, he tries to go back and almost does make a circus catch on that ball, but the ball thrown behind him. I have a question for you though, Chris. Where's Robert Gordon?
That's a great question. We have not heard from Robert Gordon today. And just to take Milt off the hook, that last angle, that was a tougher catch than I thought it was.
Absolutely. I mean, and he almost came up with the circus catch. I mean, that's the thing about great receivers, is their ability to change their body to make the catch.
You mentioned Robert Gordon, 11 games this year, 857 yards. I mean, the Stiegel-Gordon tandem has been lethal for Winnipeg this year. And here's a guy looking to win his first Grey Cup.
Well, and you're talking about, you know, almost 847 yards, as you say, but almost 300 against Hamilton, and yet no catches.
Cameron has to punt the ball away. Emerson on the run, and he's pulled down at the 42. This is a huge third quarter for Winnipeg because they have the wind right now. And if Danny McManus can keep the ball out of the Bombers' hands, it's going to be a big moral victory in the third quarter. The way he mixed it up, and he went to just about everybody on the first drive.
Well, that's what it is about. It all comes down to that first drive. He was 5 of 6 in that first drive. Really mixed it up. He utilized 6 different receivers, and as you can see from the stat, Troy Davis, the running back, is the main recipient of those tosses, and he's basically a safety valve.
Hamilton goes to work. 4 receivers left, but McManus looked to the right side and has a completion to Darren Flutie. Peanut butter and jelly. That's the way Jerron Bolden explained that relationship between McManus and Flutie.
Well, I tell you what, I like Bolden's explanation of the magic between those 2 receivers, but I tell you what, I think Harold Nash still has the best one. When asked how to explain the magic, or how do they know where each other is on the field, and he says, I think they sleep together. I think that's unbelievable.
They do room together.
Well, that's what he meant.
First down, McManus again looking for Flutie. This time the ball knocked away. Byron Capers there.
Well, just going to work against Byron Capers. Just a little out pattern, going to turn back and try and come back to the football. As we see Flutie's numbers in the playoffs. Outstanding. Receptions first, receiving yards third, touchdown catches tied for third. I know he needs 2 to move past some legendary players.
6 times 100-yard receiver in the playoffs, and he came into this game only needing 105 yards to pass Pitts for number 1 on the all-time list in yards. He passed him last week in catches, and McManus nearly picked off Corey Grant, the intended receiver. Marvin Coleman had a better shot at the football.
Well, Marvin Coleman, the 8-year veteran, what a wily veteran he is. Corey Grant is going to work back into the middle of the field, but look at Marvin Coleman climb the ladder without making contact with the receiver to go up and almost snare an interception.
Coleman has already gone to the Grey Cup game 3 times with the Calgary Stampeders, and 3 times an All-Canadian. Hamilton must punt. Was Boldeston, a line drive, and Roberts had to let it bounce. Now he takes it on the fly, and great coverage by the Tiger Cats, limiting the return inside the 18. That's the reserve safety, Kyle Walters, out of Guelph University, bringing Roberts to the turf. Every bit the battle we anticipated. Let's go back to our game notes.
And look at this. We talked on offense, utilizing all your weapons. He distributed to 6 different receivers. They shut down Stiegel. Well, Stiegel's got 70 yards, and he can break it at any time. For Winnipeg, shake off the rust. Only 139 yards of total offense, 70 on that 1 touchdown.
Here's Charles Roberts, and he is stopped at the line, maybe even behind the line of scrimmage. Gonzo Floyd and Jason Lamar team up.
And to talk about the last key, obviously we wanted to see Winnipeg's defense make McManus move, and they've got 2 sacks on Danny McManus today.
Well, Roberts said, the more I get the ball, the more chance I have of busting one. But so far, he has been kept in check. I wanted to ask you, you played in a lot of win games here, obviously, in this stadium. Is there a sense of urgency, almost getting out of your game, trying to do something with the win when you know you need to put some points on the board with the win?
Well, I think you definitely want to make points when you have the win. But, I mean, it all comes down to all parts of your game. The running game, obviously you got Roberts in your receiving games. Now, I tell you what, Kahari Jones has got a great arm, and he's got great receivers. He's not utilizing them all. So I think when you come down, the biggest thing about the win in this field, Chris, is it's a heavy win. It pushes the ball down. It's not like a heavy win from right to left. It's almost like it takes whatever you throw and pushes it down to the ground. That's where the problems arise.
And you wonder if that's why that pass ended up skipping up to Stoddard. So 3.5 minutes into the third quarter, the Bombers must punt the ball away. And I'm sure the Hamilton Tiger Cats would take a 3-point deficit heading into the fourth quarter. Amerson at midfield. And Archie Amerson blasted there. Loose ball. Cats got back on it. Oh, what a hit. As Amerson was throttled. Warren Musica got on the ball. Let's try and get a look at who got Archie.
Well, I tell you what.
Use your Canadian Tire credit card when you run in, and you'll run out with 20% more Canadian Tire money on the card. It pays to use the card.
Well, it was a blur, and it's now a blur for Archie. We think it was the Hawk, Doug Hawking.
Well, he tries to get to the sideline, as you see. He gets there, and it almost looks like he runs into his own man right there, Kyle Walters. As he tries to step around it, he doesn't see him. The peripheral vision of Archie Amerson doesn't pick him up. And it's Chris Schelling.
Chris Schelling.
Who is known to be quite the hitter.
Yes, in the football vernacular, they say Schelling brings the wood.
Brings the wood, absolutely.
He hit Archie over the head with a 2x4 there. His nickname is Shock. And he just gave Archie the shock of his life.
I think that's pretty appropriate right there.
That's as hard a hit as you'll deliver against a teammate.
Well, remember, you're not expecting that hit either.
Well, Hamilton's got the ball. Great field position at the Winnipeg 43, and Davis crashing down across the 40 to the 38.
And Danny McManus seems to think that the best way to attack this defense is straight at him. Let's not play razzle-dazzle. Let's not go to the sideline right now. Let's try and bust that initial line of defenders. As we see Archie back in the lineup, and just get Troy Davis the ball. And you see he gets right through there, forcing the linebacker Antonio Armstrong to make the play.
2nd and 5, the resilient Mighty Mouse. Amerson stays in. McManus over the middle, a first down reception for Andrew Grigg. We talked in the first half about how he became the favored receiver against Winnipeg this year.
And this is why people say, what happens at halftime? It's adjustments. They look at things that the defense has given you and they say, how do we exploit the defense? Well, what they do on this play is they switch. Flutie goes deep, Grigg comes from the outside in. Causes little confusion in the coverage. As a result, Andrew Grigg is open, makes the catch, and another first down.
Down to the 22-yard line, back to Davis on the ground. Tripped up at the 19. Anoki Brechterfield got to the ankles of Davis.
One of the things that happens on this play, Chris, is the fact it's a quick hitter again to Troy Davis right up the middle. Danny McManus just going to give him the ball right now. Nobody is backside. Now, number 19, he's a defensive end, Anoki Brechterfield. He makes the play. Now, watch for Danny Mack to pull the ball because there's no backside contained.
He doesn't do it often. He always seems to pick the right time. Oh, Amerson looked like he jumped offside. Grigg stretched out, can't bring it in. He caught the ball but was unable to keep a foot in bounds. There was no flag, but the Bombers would have declined, but Amerson looked like he jumped.
And from a Hamilton perspective, as we watch Grigg trying to keep the feet, trying to drag the toes as he goes to make that catch. For the Hamilton offense, that was their most impressive drive since the first drive of the football game, Chris.
Paul Osbaldiston, the most accurate field goal man this year from 26 yards out. And Osbaldiston good again. Missed just 2 of 40 attempts inside the 40 all season long. And we're back to even terms. Tied at 10 in the East Final. Archie's still steamed about getting rocked by Chris Schelling, and they're telling him, you went the wrong way.
That's exactly what they're saying.
You zigged when you were supposed to zag.
And he paid the price.
Somebody finally came over and said, put it away, guys, because it's a 10-10 game here in the Eastern Final. 8:43 to go, third quarter, and they get Charles Roberts out in the flat. Saunders trying to hang on, and now Roberts steps out. A flag's been thrown, and it could be a face mask call as Roberts left Saunders with little to grab.
Well, I'll tell you what, that may be the only thing that didn't move on his body, because the rest of his body was shaking in all directions. And as you say, they called a face mask on us. Will tack some additional yards on this play, but this has got to be the worst nightmare as a defender to see number 1 with the hands on the football and watch the shake. I mean, he's got it. Now he's going to go left. Now he's going to go right. Now he's got a little stutter step. Now you know you're going to get a spin. He loves to spin, and there it is right there. And Saunders reaching over, grabbing the face mask. A little bit of a desperation move to try and haul Charles Roberts down.
The running backs for Winnipeg, over 100 catches this year for 977 yards. So Jones has deployed them often in that role. First down at the Hamilton 45. Kahari steps up, takes off, and is collared by Lamar at the 38. 6-yard gain for Jones, his third run, or should I say safari of the afternoon.
That was a safari, but a great job of seeing nothing downfield, tucking the ball now. Everything you pick up across the line of scrimmage is positive. I mean, he goes down there. A nice job of Lamar to bring him down after a 6-yard game. Let's take a look at Brandon Dice and see how he's doing working against all-star Mike Philbrick. And nice job of pushing him and driving him to the outside.
We do know that Joe Montford hasn't gone shopping at Saks so far today. Here's Jones airing it out. Saunders at Gordon. Incomplete. That's the first time today they've called Robert Gordon's number.
Absolutely. We know what we talked about. We said, where is this guy? Where is Robert Gordon? He is another game breaker. I mean, if they're going to double cover or put coverage on Stiegel, then you got to turn to the other guy, 84, Robert Gordon. But a nice job of both players looking and trying to make a reception on the football. No interference because they're both playing the football.
Robert Gordon, a 10-year man in the Canadian Football League. And look at how he has scorched the Tiger Cats. Longest serving player to never play in a Grey Cup game. Here's Westwood from 45 yards out. And Troy is good to reestablish the Bomber lead. Westwood had an awful regular season, vowed perfection in the playoffs.
Use your Canadian Tire credit card when you run in, and you'll run out with 20% more Canadian Tire money on the card. It pays to use the card.
45-yarder for Westwood, who wanted to pick a fight with Michael Philbrick after regaining the lead for the Bombers.
Remember, he is a boxer. He did a little boxing in the offseason, so.
Well, he was the hero last year, that 33-yarder with 2 seconds left in the Eastern Semi. And the come from behind Bomber win in Hamilton. McManus airs it out, looking for Amerson, and he's got it. Archie Amerson in front of Bolden, who's going to take an extra 15-yard penalty. So Jerron Bolden gets burned and then loses his composure. But hold on, we also have another flag back at the line of scrimmage, which will wipe out the Amerson catch.
Well, he's going back, and you can see the flag, I think, is thrown on Seth Dittman, who collars Inoki Breckerfield, negating a great catch and adjustment of the ball by Archie Amerson, who makes a nice one-handed catch there. against very tight coverage by Jerron Bolden.
Archie intent on being in the highlight reels today.
Holding, Hamilton 66. Objectionable conduct, Winnipeg 21. First down repeated.
Mike Mihalik, the holding call for the Tiger Cats. He was involved in the alleged spitting incident last week and ejection from that game.
Well, in this play, I mean, they coming after the pressure. A good move. Really hard to see on this big screen, but the right guard getting called for the hold.
First down all over McManus, and Darren Flutie tries the one-handed grab and couldn't bring it down, and gestured there as if he might have lost it in the sun.
Nice job of Danny Mack to just sit back there, getting a little separation, working against Dave Donaldson. Darren Flutie just saw Archie Amerson make a one-handed stab catch and thought, I'll do the same thing, and trying to haul it in.
And you could see from that camera angle down that the Sun probably did play some tricks with Darren Flutie. Down under 6.5 minutes to go, third quarter. 13-10 Winnipeg, second down for the Tiger Cats. McManus trying to get outside. Look for Morreale, incomplete.
Well, one of the things is you don't want Danny Mack sitting back there comfortable in the pocket, so you force him out. Now you force him out to the left side. He's got to throw across his body. That makes it a lot harder to throw the football. So he comes to the left side. He can't get out of there. Just going to go. Nice pressure right there by Brechtfield again. They're running a little stunt with Doug Brown coming around to the outside. He has to throw across his body. Can't put a whole lot on the football, and the ball falls out of Morreale's reach.
Well, that holding penalty costly. If not for that, Hamilton would have had the ball down on the 25-yard line of Winnipeg. Instead, the Bombers are going to get it over midfield as Roberts, with that quick acceleration again, takes it onto the Hamilton side of half. Just a 28-yard punt that time into the wind. 11 on the return, and Bolden is down. Jerron Bolden has been plagued with knee problems in the past, and I don't think that's a knee problem.
Well, it looks like the way he's walking off with that arm hanging down there, more of a shoulder thing.
No yards. Hamilton is declined.
And the
First
best
down.
DB in the Canadian Football League this year in some difficulty, and that could play a huge role in the final quarter and the last 5 minutes of this third quarter.
Well, I think it's going to take, you're going to have to cut that arm off. You won't be able to take him off the football field.
Bombers start on the Hamilton side of half, and Khari Jones to Stegall, and Gerald Vaughn recovered just in the nick of time.
Well, they ran a pick play on that play. All that is I believe it was Robert Gordon's going to run into the two defenders and allow. You can see right there. See, look at that. It's a block by 84, and Steve comes to the outside. He's wide open. And very fortunate that Gerald Vaughn recognized the play at the last second to get over there.
So Khari 1 for 6 now in this second half. Only 16 yards passing. 2nd and 10. Steps up. Pressure on as he delivers to Gordon, who can't reel it in. And again, Vaughn in coverage.
Well, they put Gerald Vaughn and Robert Gordon, feeling that Khari Jones is trying to get the exciting wide receiver involved in his football game. And he's just got a hand on him. He's got a little tug on the jersey right there, just trying to not lose Gordon's positioning where he is on the football field. Again, another incomplete pass. A situation where Bob Cameron's got to come and punt it away, but they are winning the battle of field position so far.
But a missed opportunity. Vaughn came hard on that punt block attempt. Corey Grant up to the 30-yard line. So after having the ball in Hamilton territory with a first down, the Bombers squander and then give it back to Hamilton. 35-yard.
You got one on you, two outside you. He's all the way outside you.
Mike Gibson working with the offensive line as now Hamilton goes back to work on offense. The fake to Davis and the throw at the Winnipeg bench behind Mike Morreale.
Well, that's a nice job of Noki Breckfield not being fooled by the dive. We saw him earlier in the play going inside, going to the running back. This time he has a great change of direction and gets back out to force Danny McManus to throw that football.
What did you pick up from Mike Gibson on the Winnipeg bench?
Well, he's talking a lot about guys on the outside. They're lining too many guys to block, so what's happening? They're making a Rose or Larry call. That means slide right or slide left.
2nd and 10. McManus tries to extend the drive and misfires again for Morreale. And now Danny Mack 1 for his last 8.
And what they're doing, the Winnipeg defense, is they're not always getting in Danny's face, but they're rattling. They're making him throw, hurry his throws right now. He doesn't look comfortable. He's sitting, he's trying to get it. And the balls are not exactly where they need to be. And again, it falls incomplete. And again, as you say, another situation where the offense comes in, fails to move the football, and Paulus Ballison has been called again on the punt.
So the Bombers will get it back with just over 4 minutes to go with the wind in the 3rd quarter. Charles Roberts trying to enhance field position. Look out! Charles Roberts across midfield and finally spilled by Kyle Walters. He's had to make a couple special teams tackles in the 2nd half. 36, a good punt by Oz into the wind, but 17 on the comeback by Roberts.
Well, you can see he just gets out. The cardinal sin of any defensive covered team is to allow a guy with the speed of Charles Roberts to get to the outside. And they do it on that play, and Roberts makes the Hamilton team pay for it.
Well, again, they start on Hamilton's side of half. And Winnipeg may need to get some points on the board. Despite a 3-point lead, Troy Mills. And Lamar there to make the stop, the middle linebacker, who's come on an all-star season, getting better as the year went on.
It does a nice job of filling the hole. That's exactly what he's got to do from that middle linebacker position. Let your tackles take the offensive line, occupy them, and he's got to scrape to the hole, and he does a nice job of bringing down Troy Mills on that play.
Mills got 4, 2nd and 6. Those stats inflated by a 70-yard pass to Stiegel. Otherwise, Jones has been quiet. Out it goes to Roberts in the flat, cuts back, 1st down. Charles Roberts, Mr. Roberts on that carry to get a 1st down.
Well, they're just going to throw him in a flat. I mean, the man we know has got to cover him is Sean Woodson to the wide side of the field there. He's going to just drop back. Number 1's going to just slide out of the backfield now. As soon as he gets the ball, now Woodson's got to get him, and there you can see right there. Dwayne Butler's there. Everybody's over there. Unfortunately, they can't bring him down until he picks up a 1st down.
Roberts 24 on the ground, 25 receiving passes. He had 280 yards all-purpose in his last regular season game. Out of the clutches, and now he tosses to Mills. And Montfort brings down Troy Mills behind the line of scrimmage, but a little Houdini routine by Kahari Jones.
And how many times we've seen something like that where a quarterback escapes like that, does the pitch, almost Doug Flutie-like, and the end result is a huge play for the offense. This is a wonderful job of staying with the play by Joe Montfort, because if Joe Montfort does not come back and track this play down, Troy Mills is going for a while.
Chris Schelling missed Jones first, and Philbrick had him in the grasp just after he got the ball away. So it's 2nd and 11 after the loss of 1. Here comes the rush again, but Jones firing it, looking deep. Arlen Bruce, touchdown! They went to work on the new corner, and they're dancing in the end zone.
Well, we talked about the fact, Chris, they really are excited about the potential, the big play potential of Arlen Bruce III. They feel he came into his own and he's getting better. He had his best game of the season the last time they played against Calgary, his first 100-yard receiving game. But boy, no bigger catches than that catch right there working against Troy Saunders, bringing down a big touchdown to give him a 9-point lead late in this third quarter.
First-year man, 818 yards. He outfought Saunders for this football.
Well, it's a nice job of Kahari to sit in there, knowing the pressure's all around him. It's eventually going to get to him, but he throws that ball. Just a nice job of Arlen Bruce to adjust to that football, and as you say, not be denied in catching the football. He just sits in it, and he knows he's going to take something. The pressure's there, but all good quarterbacks will sit in there to the last second to wait for the receiver to get open before he throws that football.
And then, inspired by the old 80s offensive line in Winnipeg, a little dancing.
Yeah, and I got to tell you right now, they look not bad there. A little bit of choreography going on there, but if you ever saw our old dancing routines, well, no, you don't. We don't want to even go there.
I don't. Kahari Jones, in the 2 touchdown passes, has 108 yards, and his other 5 completions just 36 yards, so he's made the most of a few completions today.
But this offense, that's what, you know, if you want to characterize this offense, it is a big play offense.
And it's the biggest lead of the day, a 10-point bulge. Jeff Johnson, his first return of the day, and he lost the ball. It squirts loose. And did the Cats get back on it? I think they did. That ball flew 5 yards back, and a flag is down, and Ron Lancaster can only shake his head at the sidelines.
Well, those are the things you can't control. You can give the game plans to the players. You can get them all ready to play the football game. But the small intangibles that you can't control are mishandling of the football. We've seen this a number of times today by the Ticats. I mean, he's just going to try and put his head down and go like that. And again, the helmet by Seth O'Reilly knocks the ball out.
Illegal block. Hamilton, number 17.
And an illegal block by Sean Woodson will march it back even further. Tiger Cats have to endure another minute 14 against the wind. And they don't want the deficit to get any bigger.
And I think right now, going still into the wind, you want to control the football. You don't want to go into a quick 2-and-out in this situation.
Oh, they're revved up now into overdrive at Winnipeg Stadium, but a big run here as Troy Davis gives Hamilton some better real estate to work with.
Well, Troy Davis again with the quick hitter just off the right side. Coulter, Mihalik, and Hack doing a nice job at the backside. Also, you see Dittman on his screen getting to the linebacker Brian Clark, allowing Troy Davis to keep on running.
19 yards for Davis. He has 90 on the ground today. Who said Hamilton doesn't have a running game? McManus looking to the sidelines, overthrowing Andrew Grigg.
And again, the biggest thing about the positive effects of that 19-yard run by Troy Davis is it gives that Hamilton offense a little bit of breathing room.
I'm winding down. That extra first down effectively ensured Winnipeg would not get the ball back with the wind in this third quarter. Should be the final play of the third period. McManus pumped, looking for Corey Grant, who comes down with the ball at the Winnipeg 50. Looked like Grant read the wind beautifully there.
I mean, this is really where the receivers have to really figure out where the ball is going to come down and adjust their body accordingly. And Corey Grant does a great job of doing that right there.
Heading to the fourth quarter. $9,503. Fourth sellout of the year here. Over 300,000 came to football games at Canada Inn Stadium in Winnipeg. Dave Ritchie, if he had his druthers, would rather have the ball win in the fourth quarter. Ron Lancaster's team down by 10 with 15 minutes of football to play in regulation time.
And one of the things about playing in this stadium, Chris, is the wind gets stronger as the game goes on, and the fourth quarter always seems the wind is blowing at its hardest.
Tiger Cats at the Winnipeg 50. It's Davis again, and he spun forward for a yard or two. Let's check out the numbers at three-quarter time.
You can see Hamilton still got the edge in first downs, but again, the whole thing comes down to big plays, and the whole thing about this game has been two big plays. And Arlen Bruce and Milt Stigl with the big plays for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Second and 9. McManus with time. Looks downfield. Morreale wide open. Down to the 15-yard line. Guy with a tough year who said the playoffs could wipe the slate clean comes up with a big catch.
And that's what you want to do. You want to make sure you're in a situation. And as you say, the playoffs is a whole new season. A little bit of a breakdown there. Mike Morreale actually getting a little bit of the tackled by the turf more than the defender on the play. You see Corey Grant on this play. They're going to run, and that's what causes the confusion there. Both of them stay with Corey Grant, and nobody picks up Mike Morreale.
34 yards from McManus to Morreale. Now back on the ground, Davis. Close to 3 for Troy Davis there. And again, a 10-point lead without wind is...
Well, that's the big question right now. I mean, you're looking at an offense that obviously loves to have the football with the wind, but you're going against the best defense in the land.
Well, and what had haunted Hamilton most of the year was their lack of touchdown production, especially in the first half of the year. They're going to have to get one in the end zone here to win this today. Quick hitter inside the 5 to Darren Flutie. And that will be a first down.
And you can talk about that combination all you want. Is there a part of the field they're most dangerous? This is it right here. Time and time, year after year. These are the two guys that can always hook up and hurt you the most. They just seem to know where each other is. And Darren Flutie again falling off the coverage of Byron Capers, making another catch on his knees.
Remember, this drive started at the Hamilton 14. It started into the wind. They're trying to cap it. Davis near the goal line. And no signal. It will likely be spotted at the 1 as they unpile.
Well, you can see the line just coming off right there. Same play they've had success with all day. Just going to give Davis the football and let him try and find the seam. And nice job of stacking him up at the line of scrimmage by the defenders. And here's the play right now, Chris. Second and 1.
McManus to keep it. I think he got there. Hamilton says yes. The Bombers say no. And the officials want to get a closer look at that pile. And it's going to be third down. Ron Lancaster's team has misfired on a number of 3rd and 1 gambles this year.
Well, he's just going to tuck behind the big offensive lineman. You can see right there Mihalik, and he's trying to get the ball across the line. You can see he's trying to stretch it out right there.
Everybody rising to their feet. You'll know by the sound here if McManus gets there. Tell you the end result. Two cracks from the 1, and the Bomber defense holds.
Well, I tell you what, every time you do a quarterback sneak, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys against 5 blocking. That's the mismatch right there. They get underneath. They do not allow Danny McManus to cross that goal line. That's a big stand by the Bomber defense.
Little surprised they tried the same play twice. Now Winnipeg's got to move it out of there. Kahari Jones. Pass incomplete for Stigl at the 5. Winnipeg still in a bit of a bind, but clearly they have dodged a big bullet here, and McManus thinks about a series that...
Well, there's a couple things that bother me about that last play. One, It's the second time they try and do it in a row. 2, we've seen Hamilton run the double tight end system, and they run the ball with it. Why didn't they bring the big hoggies in? Then at least you can bounce it to the outside.
I was looking for Dwayne Ford, but the big fullback not involved in that series. Now a big play on defense for Hamilton. 2nd and 10 from the Winnipeg 1. Jones trying to air it out, no one home. But a flag down, that's why no one was home. Arlen Bruce was pulled down in his route.
Well, you do not want to take a penalty. You know, if you're Hamilton, all you want to do right now in this situation is rebound from the disaster of not scoring a touchdown.
Contact on an eligible receiver. Hamilton, number 6, 1st down.
Well, Troy Saunders getting the penalty, but you want to force Winnipeg to punt from against the win from deep in their end zone. All you've done now is give them life.
Well, yesterday, Kahari Jones said they've got a new corner. We're going to have to see what he can do. And suddenly that has become a huge factor. Bruce beating Saunders for the touchdown, and now Saunders taking a penalty that gives Winnipeg a fresh set of downs at their 10. Give to Mills. A stutter step there across the 15 to the 16-yard line. 6 for Troy Mills.
Well, that's a nice job of Troy Mills, because I tell you what, he has to change his direction about 3 or 4 times. He's going to bounce to the outside, and he's going to bounce to the back, find another hole, just keep driving. But everything, as much as he's moving side to side, he's still moving north and south.
Just thinking back to the '94 Grey Cup game, remember Danny with the naked bootleg for a touchdown in that game, surprised everybody. Didn't look like that second quarterback sneak surprised anyone. Jones takes a look, looking for Mills, just out of his reach. As Troy Mills that time got in behind the Hamilton secondary.
Well, they look for the mismatch. Troy Mills working against Sean Woodson, and he just takes it to the outside and then up the field and gets a good 5-yard advantage over Sean Woodson. He's just going to leak out of the backfield. You can see him just coming into the middle of your screen right now. And he's got a 5-yard advantage with the ball just out of the reach of Troy Mills, almost identical to the one that got away from Milt Stegall early in the first quarter.
No flag, looked like Hamilton jumped. Moving up Corey Grant to get the no yards call, so Hamilton gets the ball back, and they'll have great field position already in field goal range after a 23-yard punt as the wind is playing more and more a factor. 8:49 to go, fourth quarter.
You're looking live at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, and there's the quarterback of the Calgary Stampeders, Marcus Crandall, about to lead the Stampeders against the Edmonton Eskimos, led by that man, Jason Maas. The Eskimos and Stampeders coming up next from Commonwealth Stadium. It's the Western Final, guys.
This one here very much in the balance. Davis bouncing off Brechterfield, but caught behind the line. Ball came loose after the whistle. And Danny McManus in on that play with a block on Brechterfield. But we want to go back, and was Hamilton offside
Take a look
on
at
this
these
punt?
guys right here. Look at them jump right there. Now they don't even get back. They think they're caught. They're guilty. They stop. They wait for the flag to be thrown. It's not thrown. Big break.
And Chris, if the flag was thrown, it was an automatic first down. It was 3rd and 4. That would have given Winnipeg a fresh set of downs. Instead, the Ticats now 2nd and 11 from the 36. McManus looking downfield, incomplete, intended for Andrew Grigg or Darren Flutie, but both well covered.
Well, I was really impressed with the coverage of Marvin Coleman, keeping Andrew Grigg to the outside, not allowing Andrew Grigg to come back into the field to make that play.
So Osbaldiston tries to get them back within 7 points. Darren Flutie is the holder. And Osbaldiston is good. And now it's a 20-13 game. Just under 8 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter in Winnipeg. He stuffed the goal line twice. A quarterback sneak rejected by the league-leading defense of the Blue Bombers. Winnipeg takes over at their 35. Can Jones eat up some clock? Charles Roberts, right side. In that pile, he runs for maybe 3.
Well, it's really imperative for Hamilton to try and stop Winnipeg and force Winnipeg to punt the football, because with time becoming their enemy, they need as many kicks at the cat, if you would, on offense.
Charles Roberts, top rookie in the East. He will face the outstanding middle linebacker of the BC Lions, Barron Simpson. 4 finalists from Winnipeg this year. That happened a couple of times when Chris Walby was involved, and he was a lineman nominee. Here's Roberts with the catch, and enough to get the first down. Troy Saunders wrapped him up, but not before they move the chains.
The thing you gotta like about what Winnipeg does offensively is they're not sitting back, they're not playing conservative, they're really working their offense to put their most exciting and dangerous players in the open field, and that's all this is. Again, it's just a little swing pass, put it in number 1's hands, because every time he touches the football, he makes good things happen, and the result of that one is another first down and more clock eaten away.
Bombers were true to their word. They told Roberts he would be their feature man today, and here he is again. Check that, Mills for 5, maybe 6. Troy Mills ran into Gerald Vaughn, and the Ticats need to bring a halt to this Winnipeg drive.
Well, definitely, you can't have your secondary coming up making the tackles, because obviously that means he's already gone through the initial line of defenders, and he's in the backfield when Gerald Vaughn comes up to make the hit.
Second and 5 at the Winnipeg 51. Jones straight back, great protection today, but now a flag comes down as the pass is ruled incomplete, intended for Stiegel. Looks like a holding call upcoming against Winnipeg.
Holding, Winnipeg 67. Penalties declined, 3rd down.
Abu Mekrek, who's going to alternate at that weak side tackle with Matt Sheridan getting the holding call. Hamilton will decline, forcing Bob Cameron to come on and punt the football away.
Couple of valuable first downs for Winnipeg, however, in that territorial battle. And now Cameron, as good as any punter ever, into the wind. Great kick. Corey Grant trying to get outside. Now turns it upfield. Good run by Grant. As the 3rd-year man, a native of Stony Creek, runs the ball back. Milt Stiegel's had an impact on the day. The old football adage, it comes down to 3 or 4 big plays.
Absolutely. The first one right here is the big one. 70-yard touchdown pass, burning the Hamilton Ticats blitz for the early score. And then, of course, it comes back again for a 38-yarder to Arlen Bruce, who fights off the rookie cornerback, Troy Saunders. And what about that defense? Stuffing Danny McManus on successive tries from the 1-yard line.
McManus looking for Darren Flutie. The pass knocked down by Byron Capers.
Nice job of Byron Capers. He's going to get one-on-one. He sees him right there. He fights him to the inside. Darren tries to come back. And I'll tell you, Byron Capers very, very lucky not to get the flag, because that hand was draped all over the midsection of number 82, Darren Flutie.
We're into the no blood, no foul portion of the game. Under 5 minutes to go. Second and 10. McManus looks to the sideline, and Grant was bumped there by Capers. This time, the foul will be called.
Well, Byron Capers got away with one earlier on Darren Flutie, but this time not so fortunate, as Corey Grant is battling with Byron Capers down the left sideline, and The flag is going to be tossed against number 23 of the Bombers.
Winnipeg 23. First down.
Just going to throw to the left side. One-on-one coverage. Corey Grant working against Capers, and he's trying to get back to the football. And the reason the flag is thrown is 23. Byron Capers does not play the football. All he does is try and shield the receiver. That draws the flag.
Capers, a big man coming in when Marvin Coleman and Raphael Ball were both hurt earlier this year, and he became a fixture on the corner. 1st and 10 now, back down that sideline. Incomplete for Grant as they start to work on Byron Capers.
Well, I figure they get behind him right there, and that was just a streak pattern, as you like to call it, Chris. Just go one-on-one, race the first man to the end zone, and all starts with the protection. Nice job of picking up the blitz of Lamar McGriggs. And the ball just passed Corey Graham.
Danny McManus, just 5 completions in the second half. Winnipeg worked on Saunders, the replacement corner. McManus, let's see if he continues against Capers. 2nd and 10. This time the near side. Grigg met by Marvin Coleman, the veteran. The catch is made, but nothing else.
One of the things you got to like about the veteran Marvin Coleman is he knows, yeah, they're going to throw the ball across the football field. Andrew Grigg, I'm going to let him make the catch. But what he does so well is he limits the gain, doesn't allow him to get to the first down, and forces a punting situation.
Paul Osbaldiston walked onto the field. He started waving at the Hamilton bench, looking for a signal. As now he'll try and pin the Bombers deep. Line drive right at Roberts. Has a little room to bring her back. And once again, a good punt return. It was a low line drive with the wind at his back, and it gave Roberts some time to...
You know, that's the biggest thing. Whenever you get a line drive, it doesn't allow your defensive team to get down in coverage quickly because of the fact that the ball is kicked so quickly and received so quickly by Charles Roberts. And if there's something you want to do, is you don't want to give him an even bigger advantage by catching that football with room to run.
So better field position for Winnipeg than they might have hoped. 37-yard punt, 17 on the return by Roberts, who is #1 in punt returns this year. Now Roberts, is that a live football? Incomplete. You always wonder about that play, whether it's behind the line of scrimmage or whether it's ruled a forward pass, and that one incomplete.
Well, that's the big key right there, Chris. If the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage or behind the quarterback, then that is a live ball, and that ball actually looks like it leaves his hand and goes behind. Therefore, that ball would be live and free ball.
Behind the plane, we'll have to get another look at that. Roberts and the Bombers, perhaps fortunate. 2nd and 10, however. Ticats line a lot of people up on the line. Jones still has time to get rid of it for Stiegel, and it one hopped in front of him. And again, Gerald Vaughn in hand-to-hand combat with Milt Stiegel.
Well, just going to work against Gerald Vaughn. They know if the blitz is coming, all you're going to do is try and burn them deep again. And they see the blitz, they go deep to Stiegel, and unfortunately can't come up with the connection.
3 minutes left. Anxious time at that Hamilton bench. They trail by 7.
Oh, punt return, let's go, baby. Let's go.
2 minutes, 40 seconds, clock running as Winnipeg gets set to punt the ball away.
Last time Bob Cameron punted, he got an excellent punt away.
Little pressure. Grant on the dead run made the catch and got the no yards at the 50. So again, Hamilton's going to have a short field to work with 2:21 to go to try and get back on even terms. And there's enough time with the win for 2 scores. So Winnipeg has the lead, but it's a precarious one.
You can see 25 Dwayne Butler coming in there untouched, almost getting to Bob Cameron's punt.
No yards. Winnipeg #50. First down.
And the long snapper, Steve Glenn, called for no yards, and alertly, Grant took it on the dead run to make it a 15-yard penalty. Here we go at the 37, and again these fans in Winnipeg trying to exhort the blue defense. McManus with time, and the ball knocked down, intended for Flutie, but 3 Bombers in the neighborhood. And Marvin Coleman again knocked the ball down.
That's one of those situations when Danny McManus actually tried to force a situation and make something happen out of nothing right there. The coverage is good. Dave Donaldson's 1 for 1. There's Tom Europe, the safety, and Marvin Coleman, the closest to making that catch.
Well, is Hamilton now in 3-down range, or will he take a field goal and try and get the ball back again? 2nd and 10. That decision doesn't have to be made yet. McManus looking for Amerson, incomplete. As he works against Jerron Bolden again. And now the decision has to be made.
Well, I think the decision is made in the fact that Danny McManus is not even making any type of walking motion toward the bench right now. He's sitting right there waiting for the huddle to rejoin. Archie Amerson on that last play working one-on-one against Jerron Bolden, tries to turn, as he always does, to the football, but can't come up with the big catch.
Well, a field goal only gets you within 4, so they are going for it. And again, everybody in the house is standing. They have to get the ball to at least the 27. McManus looking for more than that. Incomplete. Wanted Corey Grant, but Byron Capers was all over him. Shrink wrap coverage.
Shrink wrap coverage, and the thing that really surprises me about the offense is when you watch Hamilton work successfully on offense, they're always doing the middle patterns, the slot backs. For 3 successive plays, they have tried to go to the outside, to the wide receiver, which is a harder catch because it's a one-on-one catch, and the man has to be beating the coverage man instead of working it methodically into the middle with guys that you know that can read the coverage, like Darren Flutie.
The veteran Ron Lancaster disappointed, but knows there's an eternity left on the clock. 2:04, plenty of time with the wind at their back. But the defense must come up now. Here's Jones on the keeper, and what an alert play there. Hitchcock the tackle. The end read the option and let Jones run by him.
Holy free flag calls. We see Danny McManus sitting with Archie Amerson on the bench, but Kahari Jones is just going to pull it. The end goes with the running back. He's just going to take it on his own. He does that right there. And a nice job of picking up 8.
Second and 2. Bombers try to chew up the clock. Charles Roberts, first down and more. Into Ticat territory with 1:34 to go.
Well, you know what? We're starting to put the lid of the coffin on, Chris. We're starting to put some nails in it right now. And I tell you what, if there's a guy that you might want to give the game ball to, it's that man right there. I mean, look at his determination, the spinning. We've seen it all afternoon. His refusal to be brought down by the first tackler and making big things happen every time he touches the football. He just keeps drives alive. And what a wonderful afternoon for Charles Roberts.
Key punt returns, first down, Mills. And he is stopped near the line of scrimmage, lunges forward to the 45-yard line. 1:11 to go. And for Troy Westwood, you would think they'd have to get down to about the 30 in this wind. Maybe 40 is the range. Matt Sheridan hustles out. One more kick by Westwood would do it. 2nd and 8. Under a minute to go. There's that pass to Roberts, incomplete. Didn't have time to show you, but during a break we went back to check the last play of that nature, and it was a yard over the plane. It was a forward pass, and a good call by the officials, and this one clearly, better angle for it, was a forward pass as well.
One of the favorite plays they go to all afternoon is just a little swing, outlet pass to Charles Roberts, get him to the outside when he's in open field, and that's where he's the most dangerous. Put him on one-on-one and make that defender sweating. Fell incomplete that time. Bob Cameron comes in. And you know the fellas, the Winnipeg team as a whole is feeling it right now, Chris. 7 points up. Under a minute to go.
Well, we talked about Amerson's return last week. Ticats could use a big one here. How about Bob Cameron? Into the end zone. Amerson is caught. How about Bob Cameron? 47 years of age.
Well, they're all taking turns, but as you say, what a great punt by the 22-year veteran to skyrocket against the wind. A punt over Arch Amerson's head. Sit back there, you know, good job of protection. First off, you know that Hamilton's coming after the block. Mishandled by Amerson after a great punt by Bob Cameron. Now he's trying to do everything he can to get out of the end zone. And Lucas Shaver putting the finishing touches on.
45 yards for the 47-year-old into that stiff breeze. The only consolation for the Cats, they get it at the 35. McManus has a completion. Andrew Craig up to the 48. That's a first down, 31 seconds left. It's not done, but Hamilton now needs a touchdown and the two-point convert.
Well, that's a big point. It's a huge point for that very reason right now. If they do get a score right now, they have to play the two-pointer.
Nobody's sitting now in Winnipeg. McManus for Amerson, picked off. It's over now. Jerron Bolden. Touchdown, Winnipeg.
The crowd is crazy. Dave Ritchie knows it's done. It's done now.
For the man who was a co-leader in interceptions this year. And everybody in Winnipeg thought he should have been the defensive player nominee out of the East. Westwood adds the extra point. Bob Cameron revved him up, and Jerron Bolden puts the finishing touches on it.
Does a great job, and the biggest thing about it is he sits back there. We've talked about that matchup, Bolden and Amerson, all day. He's just going to go to the well one too many times. Just go to the swing outlet pass, trying to put it out there. Jerron Bolden does a nice job of just sitting on it, knowing, almost baiting it. Just going to throw it out there, and he's just going to walk right in front of that, catch it, and waltz his way into the end zone, knowing with that touchdown, this team's going to the show.
First time in 8 years, Winnipeg will be in the Grey Cup. 14 seconds left on the clock. Dave Ritchie has done it again. A team that was 14-4 but hadn't won since October 20th. So some of us so-called experts wondered, could they beat the hot Hamilton team today? They took great exception to the audacity.
The biggest thing is that this team, what you got to like about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is they are a team, and they each take turns making big plays. That defense as a unit stood out today. Obviously stuffing Danny McManus at the goal line twice against a big, tough offensive line from Hamilton.
All phases work today. Offense with big plays, defense. Look at Davis still spinning around, chewing up the clock, chewing up the yards. and brought down at the 40 with 3 seconds to play. All too late now. It's a 15-point Bomber lead. The best team in the Canadian Football League at 14-4 will be the Eastern rep and the favorite in the 2001 Grey Cup game. There's the outstanding player nominee who made the big plays when they counted today.
Well, a lot of excitement right there, and there's one of the recipients of one of his big plays, the 38-yard touchdown pass, Arlen Bruce III. There's going to be a whole lot of celebrating, and fans may not leave here for quite a while.
One more gasp from Danny Mac. Up for grabs, and this one is over. They are the true blue beasts of the East. Yes, they are. The Bombers are headed to the 2001 Grey Cup. Everybody thought the team with the win in the fourth quarter had the hammer, but we forgot Bob Cameron had the hammer in his foot.
We talked about it, and we also said, you may have the win, but you're going against a defense that all year long has stood the test, and they did it again. And there he is, Jerome Bolden, and you see Kahari talking to McManus right there.
Great seeing the 99 outstanding player, the man who likely will be the 2001 outstanding player. Milt Stegall did it. Defensive touchdown, a defensive goal line stand, and a 47-year-old with a chance to win another Grey Cup as we join Steve.
Thank you very much, Chris. Kahari Jones, I was with you last year when you lost in Montreal. I know how disappointed you are. How happy are you now?
I'm more excited for words. It's just crazy to be here second year and come through this year, even though it wasn't the prettiest of games. That wind was swirling and everything, but defense held up. We put enough points on the board, and then Jerron capped it off. It was just, it was awesome.
2 tremendous plays offensively. The big pass to the veteran Stegall and the other pass to the young guy.
Yeah, well, they were giving us the deep ball all day, and we didn't connect on a few, and then finally we got it with Milt, and then I just put one up for Arlen Bruce, and he did the rest. So we knew it was come down to big plays, and they definitely made them.
Kahari, good luck in the Grey Cup.
Thanks a lot.
Guys, back to you.
No question, they will be the favorites. Many thought this would be the toughest test, and they pass it with flying colors. And that really was the story of the day when Kahari Jones could read the blitz and find his old sidekick.
Well, they kept coming after him. They said they were going to blitz him. They didn't think that Kahari would have the time to find the open receiver. Well, he made him pay big time.
Let's go back to Steve Armitage with another hero of the day.
Thank you very much, Chris. Jerron Bolden. What a game. What an interception.
Well, I just tip my hats off to my defense. We were playing some good ball. I was just trying to make a statement. I should have been MVP of the Eastern Division. But we're going to keep going. We got a job to do next week at Grey Cup.
Jerron, I think the big goal line stand you made, stopping Danny Mac from the 1-yard line was unbelievable.
It was just our defense. We won't quit. Regardless of what's going on, we'll never quit. That's why I love them guys, and I got to get out of here. There's too many people out here, all right?
You got that right. We're going to get killed. Guys, back to you.
That's just a preview of what it's going to look like on the streets of Montreal next week. A lot of talk about the home team not being in it, but there may be an invasion. There's going to be an invasion from Winnipeg.
Well, I told you before this game, there's a lot of people in the parking lot with their trunks packed. They got their suitcases that are ready to get plane reservations and get out to Montreal. This is a crazy city. You've seen it. It's been totally consumed with this game. And I mean, it's a wonderful feeling, and I feel a lot of pride, and I congratulate both teams. What a great game put on by not only the Ticats, but of course the Bombers. What a game to come back and play against them. And I still think, you know what, this defense, I talked about comparisons. People ask me, how do I compare teams? I think great defenses are really what gets you to the cup. And again, we saw that today. Yeah, the offense sputtered a little bit, but the goal line stand, that's the big play today, as far as I'm concerned. It got Winnipeg to where it's going.
Even when they lost those last 2 games, great defense, and this is the play everybody in Hamilton will be talking about. Actually, back-to-back stuffs on the 1-yard sneaks by McManus that really was decisive here today.
Well, they have been stopped many times in that situation with Danny McManus behind those big horses. But when you're going against a real determined, good group of linemen and linebackers, they're lined up in there. They weren't going to be denied today. They stuffed them. That, to me, is the big play of the game.
Well, a defense that led the Canadian Football League in 13 of 25 categories. They were number 2 in 4 others. And they prevailed today against a veteran quarterback, Arlen Bruce. Dave Ritchie, as the Winnipeg Bombers are going to the Grey Cup.
As you can well imagine, the celebration continues here in Winnipeg, and it will for some time. Their beloved Bombers are going to the Grey Cup with a lot of help from this man, the veteran, Bob Cameron. Bob, can you put into words how it feels now?
It is an unbelievable feeling. I mean, we were down. It felt like we were down most of the game, even though we were up going into the fourth quarter, into the wind, and to hang in there, that goal line stand. We've got a tenacious defense, like I said, all year. Our offense came to play when we needed it. We did a good job on special teams again. Charles Roberts did an outstanding job returning, and that's what we've done it all year. And we seemed to pull it out at the end, and we did it once again.
Bob, the look on your face when you hit that 46-yard punt for the single point was unbelievable.
Well, to me, I thought I was playing so badly all game. I had a lot of guys come at me, and I wasn't getting the ball off the way I wanted. To finally hit one the way I wanted, it felt pretty good. And to really bury Hamilton, it was a sweet moment for me and the team.
Bob, a quick thought on going to the Grey Cup in Montreal.
Well, I never thought I'd even make it back this year, but going to the Grey Cup in Montreal, I mean, that's what we've been fighting for all year. We've got a bunch of guys that have kept the eye on the ball, the focus every week in and week out, and we weren't going to let this one slip away. We will be ready for whoever we play in this Grey Cup.
Thanks for this, Bob, and good luck. Brian, back to you.
All right, Steve. Calgary and the Eskimos will start here in about 10 minutes at Commonwealth Stadium. They're expecting a crowd of more than 40,000. Danny Barrett, Michael Clemens back with me. Pinball, let's begin with you. Yes. Prior to this Eastern final, I said, what about Amerson and the special teams? You said yes, but there's an all-purpose player with Winnipeg we should look out for.
Yes, and we talk about him being the new guy, and today, newer was better. Archie Amerson had a great game, made some good plays, but it was Sir Charles Roberts who made the difference today. And you see him fielding the punt here and all the plays he made. Now, the difficulty here, the thing we don't understand is how hard that ball is to field in that kind of wind. Then you see the move. He gets back, comes back outside, and he just gets tripped up at the end of the play, or it might have gone all the way. But Sir Charles Roberts, I think Sir Charles is his surname now. Now watch, he catches this pass on a swing pass. He goes, makes a little move, and dipsy doodle and gets through, and he gets a first down. Now this was a critical first down because it was a second down play, and if they didn't make that play, they would have had to kick. Later on, they scored a touchdown.
No big plays from Roberts, but he was consistently good at about 10 or 15 yards to give Winnipeg field position. Now, speaking of big plays, we saw Milt Stegall in the first half. There was another one in the second half.
Exactly right. He goes to his second favorite receiver, Arlen Bruce, which has been a big play receiver for him all year long. And the biggest thing here is that the offensive line gave Kahari time. He goes back, great protection. He steps up, and what he does, he gives the receiver a chance to make a play. Bruce comes up big for him. That was huge for them. A great momentum, great touchdown catch, and took them to where they are now.
Now, Dave Ritchie told Danny Barrett, he says, I'm not getting any respect. My team's not getting any respect. They'll get it now. He was mad that the Winnipeg defense was not respected. Talk to us about the Winnipeg defense, and let's begin with the goal line stand.
You know, the goal line stands, again, was what this football team has done all year. And in the big picture of things, when we watch this goal line stands, they went for it and took the gamble on third down. And here, Winnipeg comes up not one play, but 2 plays in a row. But I don't think that was as critical in context of the game as we watch Corey Grant going down the field and them. Danny McManus in this critical situation tried to go for the deep pass rather than getting the first down. Capers made a great play, and again, that defense just rises up time and time again.
You know, I agree with you 100% on that. You said the key right there. Yes. The defense rose to the occasion. Yes. 2 third down situations, they came through, made the play. Hats off to Dave Ritchie and his staff and their players for making the plays when they had to.
Now, Calgary and Edmonton about to begin here at Commonwealth Stadium. The last 2 times they played, the margin of difference was a single point. Both games, Labor Day and then 5 or 6 days after, saw more than 60 points scored. Quickly, how do you see the game this afternoon? Is it a 60-pointer?
Ooh, you know, that's hard to say right now. Both team defenses are going to have to come up big today to nullify the big play potentials from both receiving cores. I think it's going to be in the same range this game we just had, in the 20s.
Very quickly.
Two great young quarterbacks. The quarterback that makes the best decision in this game is going to lead his team to the Grey Cup.
Well, those quarterbacks are Moss and Crandall. Coming up, the second half of our doubleheader from here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. It's the Battle of Alberta as they're celebrating in Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers to meet the winner between Calgary and